don't think we're going to get a QR codes. And the reason as to why I'm saying that is because we know that we're getting something tomorrow. We know we're getting something on WhatsApp. Again, people are probably like, yeah, what time's that? We don't know. We don't know what time that's going to be, but there is a couple of theories. First theory is that it's going to be 4 because of the fact that's what time it was for the Twitch stream, so they might just do the same time this time, right? So I think 4 Eastern is not a bad guess. The other time that people are speculating on is the 5:25, because people are saying maybe that's not the date, maybe that's the time, right? I don't know why they would do that time, to be honest with you. I mean, 5:22, sorry, is the date. So why would they do it as the time as well? So I don't know. It's really hard to know. I mean, I was thinking of sending a message to Rob Fee asking him, love the work. Do we know what time on WhatsApp? Kind of a message. I haven't had a chance to do that yet. So I might do that when I get a second. Because obviously we want to do a live stream for it. And I haven't even tried getting onto WhatsApp, to be honest, and all of that stuff. I need to try and do all of that. I think you have to go to WhatsApp, and I think you have to go to, someone said like companies or something. I was going to watch a YouTube video on it so that I could figure out where I need to go, because me and WhatsApp are, you know, we're not friends. We don't know each other very well. So I don't know where I need to go, what I need to do, or any of that stuff. And I'm sure I'm not alone. I think that's the whole reason for doing this, to be honest, is so that people go onto WhatsApp, find WWE, start following WWE. It's obviously a brilliant way of boosting their social media accounts. They, I think, got a real boost off Twitch, and now they're having a look, seeing if they can get people to follow them on WhatsApp. So yeah, very good. I have no problem with that. I don't feel like I'm being used and abused. I just think that it's a case that they want to kind of use this campaign as a way to not only bring this group back, but also, as we said, boost their social media numbers. So before we jump in the chat, and I do want to jump into the chat, we're going to talk about what's on NXT tonight. What can we expect from NXT tonight? What I've got is Karmen, Petrovic and Natalya are attempting to take down Shayna Baszler and Lola. That's a match that we've got coming up. We've got Wesley, Joe Coffey and Josh Briggs. They're going to be battling in a triple threat. Winner will go on to face Oba Femi, right, for that North American Championship. Then we've got Thea Hale. She is looking for payback against Fallon Henley in the NXT Women's North American title qualifier. So Thea Hale is going to be taking on Fallon Henley. It's a bit strange that, because to be honest, it felt like she was in a feud with JC Jane. And I think if JC Jane hadn't got injured, I'm not sure this Fallon Henley thing would have happened. It's a bit strange. It's a bit strange that she's fallen out with 2 women that were her friends in quite quick succession. So it is a little bit bizarre, that one, but either way, she's going to be taking on Fallon Henley in the North American title qualifier. And then we got Brinley, Reece and Jaida Parker. They are going to duke it out for the NXT Women's North American title qualifier. So that's what we've got on the show tonight. The show looks okay. I'm always honest. If I think it's going to be a rip-roaring, fascinating show, then I'm obviously always honest about that. I don't get that vibe from this. I don't get the vibe that this is going to be incredible. I think it'll be solid, but yeah, you know, we'll have to wait and see how it plays out. It could be fantastic, couldn't it? It could be absolutely amazing. But I don't get the impression that this is going to be like a can't miss episode or something like that. I think it's just going to be solid. I think NXT has been putting on some solid shows, but definitely feels like it's in a bit of a rebuild. But then they have just lost Lyra, Kiana, Carmelo, Bron Breakker, Baron Court. Do you know what I mean? When you actually think about what they've just lost, it's probably understandable that they're maybe not in as strong a position as they were about a month or so ago. Right, let's jump into the chat. Nathan said, Daze, everyone, happy Tuesday. I'm excited for the arrival of the Wyatt Six. I wonder if this was the way my parents felt when the Beatles came to America. I am so happy right now. I would imagine that it's a good comparison. That I was trying to find my pen. My pen's gone missing. My pen has gone missing somewhere, and that is bugging me because I will need it. Oh, here it is. Found it. Yeah, that's a really interesting comparison, comparing it to the arrival of the Beatles. That's a really interesting comparison, but yeah, that sheer excitement of, well, not even just the Beatles. If you've got tickets to see Taylor Swift and you've spent a lot of money on them and you know that she's going to be coming to your area, like, you know, in like next year, and you're waiting and waiting and waiting, I'd imagine that it is comparable to that. So yeah, that's fun. I do like that comparison, but obviously we don't know for certain that it is this weekend. We just feel pretty good that it's going to be this weekend. But as I said, don't get your hopes up to the point where if it doesn't happen, you're going to be like devastated. I think that I'm going into this weekend optimistic and hopeful, but if it doesn't happen and we end up getting a QR code instead, I'll be okay. I'll be okay. I'll be a little bit down, like I was really hoping to see them and take that next step forward. But I think for me, as long as we're continuing this story with the therapist, I'm all right, you know. I'm really into the therapist story, and I really want to know where she's gone, and I really want to dig into that a bit more, and we haven't explored it any further. Like, we didn't get any more, really, on the therapist. So I hope she hasn't just gone and that's it. I would really like to... I want to see the moment where the therapist arrives at the cabin and is introduced to them. And I want to know what happens to the therapist. And I want to know what her purpose is. Like, I feel like I'm watching a movie and I'm like halfway through. So if we don't get the group arriving on Saturday, I'll be fine as long as we've had a QR code that really does push the story forwards. But... yeah, I know a lot of people will be disappointed. Collery said maybe a QR code tonight to confirm the time for tomorrow. Well, maybe. I mean, because we're doing something tomorrow, I'm thinking we don't do something today, but absolutely we could. And as you said, it could be so that we know what time it is that we need to be tuning in for. That is the big question at the moment, isn't it? That's the one thing we don't have an answer to. What time is this thing going to be? Rob Field, no. I would be surprised if no one's already asked Rob, actually. So I'm guessing that I need to have a look at Rob Fee's account and see if he has put anything out. But it is because we know we're getting tomorrow, it's just put that seed of doubt that we get anything today. I'm currently not expecting anything tonight for the QR codes. If we get it, bonus ball. TNT Pro Wrestling Booking Agency, shout out to you, my friends. I hope you are well. Jim said I won't be disappointed. Jason said still it should be a good match, and I'm glad to see that Gallus are back. Yeah, they made a big statement, didn't they, coming back last week. What are your thoughts on WWE going to Japan for the first time in 5 years? The possibility of opening a forbidden door with a new Japanese company, Marigold, I think it's called. Well, my thoughts are that I'm not massively surprised. WWE sent Charlie Dempsey over to Japan to do, was it something with All Japan? Where he was called the ace of WWE. I think Shinsuke went over last year to wrestle for Noah in like one of the farewell matches for the Great Muta. So, and obviously we know that they've been interested in doing NXT Japan. We know that Marigold has started by the same person that started Stardom, and they have now started Marigolds. And we know that there was pictures of them being at WrestleMania. We know that Julia has been signed. She'll be coming over to WWE in the near future. We know that Noah came out and said they want to work closer with WWE. Like, there just seems to be so much happening with Japan over the last few months that an announcement now that WWE are going to go over there and do some shows is not the biggest surprise, to be honest with you. So I saw the news. I was like, okay, cool. Yep. And, you know, could there be an announcement whilst they're over there? I'm sure that Rossy Ogawa will be invited to attend those shows, but could we go that one step further? And could there be something that's announced? What I would say is, if they work with Noah, if they work with Marigolds, I wouldn't get it too excited, because I don't think that'll have anything to do with the main roster. Maybe we send Io or Kairi over there, right? But I don't think it means that, like, these Japanese women are going to start popping up on Raw and on SmackDown and stuff like that. I think you've seen in AEW, it doesn't work. Like, there's people over in Japan that are stars that some people in America will know about and the Western world will know about. But the vast majority of WWE fans, they are people that love Randy Orton, they love Cody, they love Roman, they love star power. Yeah, they're tuning in for the Brock Lesnar's, they're tuning in for the Roman Reigns, they're tuning in for the Undertaker, the John Cena, right, the Rey Mysterio. There ain't many people that are just tuning in for obscure Japanese wrestlers, right? So I think that we have to be realistic as to what would that relationship actually look like. And I think that it works on an NXT level. I think if you're someone that loves WWE so much that you watch NXT, then I think we can understand that, you know, there'll be a relationship there where we can send them some of the girls or some of the guys, and they can send some of their talent over. Keeps the roster fresh for NXT, and also it means that different experiences for the NXT talent that are learning how to wrestle, because a lot of these are next in line athletes that have never wrestled before. So the opportunity for them to learn at the Performance Center and also then go over and spend a month or two over in Japan, being taught over in Japan, you know, I mean, that could be really beneficial for the development of these stars, you know. Them going off on like an excursion keeps things fresh for Marigold, keeps things fresh for Noah, keeps things fresh for NXT. And, you know, if we was to do like a Noah versus NXT show or a Marigold versus NXT show, we potentially could, but that's the level that I'm looking at it being at. I don't see this being something that's going to affect Raw, SmackDown, other than you could see some of those Japanese women, maybe Natalya, maybe a Tegan Nox, going over to Marigold. I could see them going over. But I think anyone that comes the other way, I see them going to NXT. I don't think they'd put them on Raw or SmackDown, because they just won't have the necessary star power. You'd have to bring them over and then spend loads of time building them up, like making them out to be this big deal. By the time you've actually got them over with the fans, it'd be time for them to go. So I don't think it would really work on that level. But it is big, and it could result in obviously starving AEW of getting some of this talent. I'm not saying that's why they're doing it, but it is very interesting how the UK didn't have a big stadium premium live event between 1992 till, was it 2022? Clash at the Castle. So that was 30 years, right? And if you think AEW started 2019 and then there was like 2 years of pandemic, is that a coincidence that AEW had started? AEW were trying to, you know, break into different markets, and WWE, I think, looked at it and went, we need to strengthen that UK relationship. We need to strengthen that relationship with Europe. And look what's happened since. They've come back. They've done Money in the Bank in London. They've done Backlash in France. They're doing Bash in Berlin in Germany. Like, all of a sudden now, they appear to want to go around the world just a few years after AEW started. And I don't know if you saw the meltdown that Tony Khan had about Rossy Ogawa, but when Rossy was removed from Stardom, kicked out of Stardom, Tony Khan went off on social media, calling him like a stooge, calling him a plant. He was making out that Rossy had been working with WWE for a little while, and that I think there was people that Tony was interested in that maybe Tony couldn't get access to. And Tony definitely seemed to imply there was a lot of dirty stuff that was going on behind the scenes with Rossy Agar and WWE. So AEW already feeling the effects of this relationship between Rossy Agar and WWE, and that could be another reason as to why they're doing it. It might not even be so much about strengthening ties with Japan and, you know, talent exchange. It might just be because they're trying to starve a supply line to AEW. That could be another reason for doing it as well, because there's a lot of talent that comes out of Japan, and look at how much of that talent goes to AEW. Look at all the talent they've hoovered up from New Japan. Look at all the women, Riho, Hikaru Shida, Emi Sakura. You know, there's quite a few women that they've used from Japan. So if you can maybe turn that tap off a little bit, if you can make it a bit more difficult for them to get that top Japanese female talent, then that could be another reason for doing it. So I've got a few thoughts on that situation, but I can't say that it's the news today was massively surprising that they're going to go and tour over there. I think WWE are really looking global now. Kieran said, what's the thoughts on Uncle Howdy Wyatt 6 interfering in the King of the Ring final and targeting Orton? I think it makes sense for a first feud. History, safe hands, big name. I wouldn't do it, to be honest with you. I mean, it does make sense, but you've got a couple of problems. The first problem is that Orton is face at the moment, and I really think this is a problem. I know not everyone agrees, but I just think, why would you want to bring this group in and have them target a face? I don't understand. That doesn't make any sense to me, because why would you want this group coming in? Because surely this group, we want them to be loved and respected and appreciated and supported. I mean, Bray has passed away. There's so much affection for Bo. That documentary was so emotional. It was so hard hitting. I feel like Orton is going to be a target for the group at some point. But, I mean, we either bring them in as faces, let that kind of initial emotion run its course, and then, you know, a little further down the road we could look to turn them heel, and then they can go after Orton. Or we turn Orton heel at some point, and then, like, you know, their paths can cross. I think this group are coming in as faces, because the crowd are going to pop big, man. When they come out, the crowd are going to, it's going to be cool. The crowd are invested. The crowd are, like, you know, doing the QR codes. There's excitement. You know, you're flipping all of that on its head to turn them heel. And even if you don't want to turn them heel, say you want to do face versus face, why do you want to split the crowds? Why do you want half of the crowd supporting the Wyatt Six and the other half of the crowd supporting Randy Orton? Why would we ever want the Wyatt Six being booed in the short term? I mean, eventually, you know, their motives might become darker or whatever, right? And so maybe then we do, like, try and turn them, but I just can't get my head around why we would ever want to bring them in. And this isn't the first time we spoke about this, so you know, we've spoke about this quite a few times, but my feelings on this just have not changed. If I was working in creative, this would be the big warning sign. This would be the big conversation I'd be having. I'd be like, this thing needs to be planned. We need to know who we're going after. There's loads of targets for them, right? I understand them coming back and going after people that wronged Bray, and I like that theory. But I think there's the right time and the right place to do it. I don't think I would have them come back and target Randy. Doesn't mean that they won't. I'm not going to sit here and say, oh, they're definitely not going to do that, blah, blah, blah. It doesn't mean that they won't. It's just I would be very adamant in that meeting room, that creative meeting room, that we don't do it now. We do it further down the road. Because to be honest with you, we need to introduce these characters as well. So all of these characters, if they are going to arrive on Saturday, between now and Saturday, we ain't got much time to actually reveal who these people are. And we need to kind of really dig into their personas, their characters, you know, why they're in the group. We know that they were forgotten. They were being lied to. Uncle Howdy has shown them the truth. I think the QR code's done a good job of that. But I think that, yeah, this group needs to come in. I don't know that they go after anyone for a few weeks. Because, to be honest, I think the first thing we need to do is go, right, we're here. This is why. this is the leader, this is such and such, these are their names. I mean, their names may be the same, but they may change. You know, Bo Dallas didn't come back as Bo Dallas. He was Uncle Howdy, you know? And so have they kind of given them slight alter egos? Have they got their own Fiend characters that we need to look into? How are they going to do promos? What's their ring attire? What's the group dynamic? Like, is there someone that's going to go after the mid-card belt? Is there someone that's going to go after the tag belts? Is there someone that's going to go after the women's titles? Like, I feel like we need to flesh this out. We need to figure out why they're here. Why have they come back? Do that for a little bit. Don't let it drag the same way that Braze did. Now, I think the problem with Braze is there was a few weeks where he kind of said a few words, you got a little bit of a howdy interruption, and that was it, really. And it wasn't as satisfying. It needed to have a bit more meat on the bone some weeks. It felt actually like a story that could have took, say, 4-6 weeks to tell when Bray came back. 4 to 6 weeks to tell that story, but they had to stretch it over 12, right? That's how it felt. It felt like there was about 4 to 6 weeks of content. And actually, I think they were guilty of that during the Funhouse as well. Because there was times where there was like a nothing episode of the Funhouse, or it was just a bit of a promo and it didn't really do much. There was some fantastic stuff in there during the Funhouse. I love the Funhouse. But that was another example where they seemed to have like 8 weeks of content that they had to stretch over 12. Because there were weeks where not much really happened. And I think that was the same when Bray came back. It's all well and good to be slow with your storytelling, but I don't think there's much excuse for a week where really nothing happens. You know, if you want to tell a story and you just want to drop stuff in slowly, that's fine, but you've still got to be progressing forward, and you've still got to be giving people something to get their teeth into. I don't think any of us want to tune into a show, look forward to seeing the Wyatt Six, and they don't really do much. Like, that's disappointing. And there was times when Bray came back after White Rabbit that's exactly what we got. Not much progression. So I'm hoping that we don't do that here. I'm saying bring them in. I would have them spend a few weeks kind of telling us what we need to know, get in the kind of lay of the land down, and then I think I would have maybe a group step up to them rather than them target anyone. I'd have a group like, say, Carrion, Final Testament, something like that. They could start poking their nose around, and this group then have got an opportunity to like flex their muscles a little bit. Once they've dealt with those guys, then, you know, it's time. We didn't come here for these guys. They just got in our way. It's time now. And then boom, they go after, I don't know, whoever, right? Judgment Day or someone like that. But as I said, I would put heels in their way first. And then, you know, see how the stories play out, basically. But eventually I would look to turn Randy. I think Randy turning heel should happen because I like the idea of Cody being champion and Randy trying to get that title from him. Cody versus Randy Orton, a heel Randy Orton. Randy trying to get a few more title runs under his belt. If we do that, say, next year, where we turn Randy heel, then we can have the Wyatt Six go after. I think that feud with Randy is massive. It's monstrous. It's the biggest feud they could come back and do. I would not go straight into it. So, yeah, there's a few thoughts there. Obviously, we did a whole video on the second channel as to how people would bring this group in. So that's my thoughts, and it's nothing but my thoughts. I'm certainly not sat here going, I'm right, blah, 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 right? I'm just saying that if I was in the room and people went, well, how would you do it? These are the kind of things I would be saying. And, you know, it's funny because I've not just started saying this. I've been saying this for a long time, that you've got to be careful with if they're heels and faces and who they go after, because surely no one's going to want to boo them, right? I've been saying this for a long time. And then lo and behold, I watched a video last night on Dutch Mantel. He was doing his podcast and he was asked the same question and he responded with the same answer. He said, I didn't understand last time because this Uncle Howdy character seemed a bit like a heel, but they were faces and who would want to boo them? And he went into the fact that it's, they're faces. You've got to be careful with this. And I was like, yeah, this is what I've been saying. And I was like, no way. So it was nice to hear like Dutch Mantel kind of echoing the same sentiment. But I do think you have to be careful with that because I don't think anyone's going to want to boo this group. And I think that they're going to want to be people fully behind them. And to be honest with you, there's people out there that are already not sure. There's people out there that don't like the QR codes. They find them a bit cringe. They find them a bit distracting. Every day I get people having a little moan and a little pop somewhere at the fact that we cover the QR codes as extensively as what we do, right? I'm sure you've seen it in the live chat where people have said, I can't wait for Daze to stop having to faff around with these QR codes and we can just get back to the show. I see those comments in the live streams. So, there's people that are not on board, shall we say, with the QR codes. So you're going to have to tread carefully when they do finally arrive. But you are correct in that Orton feud is massive, 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 massive. That's why I think I would build up to it and I would switch him heel. And I like that anyway for him and Cody. I like the idea of them two battling for the title. Cross said, Daze, I'm sure that you addressed this before. What are the thoughts on Bron Breakker taking out that jobber? I personally love the start taking me seriously spin on jobber versus star matches. Yeah, I like it. I like it a lot. I thought it was done about as good as a jobber match could be done, because when you saw that it was him against the jobber, I think we reacted the same way. We were like, well, we know what this is going to be. This is just going to be Bron squashing this guy, and we've seen it. And I agree with you. I think that it was refreshing to see Bron react the same. Like, what are we... I think he even said at one point, what are we doing here? What are we doing? He was getting frustrated as well. And so he not only beat him, but he sent a message, didn't he? Which obviously then makes me hopeful that we'll move on to something a bit more significant as we move forward now. He's getting frustrated with his booking. I'm sure in real life he isn't. I'm sure there is a very real plan that they're executing here, right? 3-4 weeks of jobbers. You get frustrated because it's so easy. You feel disrespected because you weren't in King of the Ring. And so you start basically taking people out. You're going to be a problem for Adam Pearce. You and Adam Pearce are going to butt heads a lot. And I think this is the game plan that we're going through. So I don't think Bron is upset in real life, of course. But his character is upset because he wants more of a challenge. And I love it. I think it's brilliant. I think that is definitely the right way to go about doing this. And I think it really made him look like an unhinged psycho as well, like a monster, because he was just out of control. He lost control. And he was just screaming away, and he was just, his frustrations got the better of him. So I thought it was really good. And obviously we're building him up, and he will eventually face someone of significance. He will face someone that is going to be a hell of a challenge in front of him. And it's going to be real interesting to see what happens. They're kind of building him up like the unstoppable force. And so we need the immovable object. We kind of need to build him up and then put him in there with someone that's equally as impressive, someone that's not easy to beat, and kind of see as to what happens. And hopefully what happens is we get magic and we get an amazing match that we really care about because they've built it, right? So I agree. I thought it was excellent. I thought it was really, really good. William said, I don't mind the QR codes, honestly. It's not going to be for much longer, and the scavenger hunts are fun. I really enjoy the interaction between the fans and WWE. We get to be part of the reveal. Yeah, I enjoy it. I do understand that people tune into these streams and they want to talk about what's on the show, right? If you're at work and you want to know what's happening because you can't watch Raw, then I understand there's going to be people that want that. The problem we've got at the moment is that not everyone is in that situation. We have a healthy amount of people that are actually watching the show at the same time. So there's a healthy amount of people that are watching the show And actually what they're looking for is, well, I'm watching the show. Where are we with this QR code? What's the latest on that? So I think the problem we've got is that normally you watch the show and it's very easy. You just react to what's on the show. But when you've got the show and the QR codes, you're then kind of split in attention, if you will. And there's people that want you to focus on the other thing at different times, you know. So we might get stuck into a match, but people are then, you know, it's funny because I was talking about the QR codes, and then when I looked in the chat, people were like, oh, he's missed the Sonya Deville thing, and they were going off, this is like, you know, I can't wait for this to get back at how it usually is and all this. So like I was looking at the QR codes, and then there was people that were having a go because I'd missed them on the show, right? And then if I focus on the show, all I see in the chat is people talking about, oh, have you seen, like, this has just been found, I've just sent you a tweet. You can't win. That's what it comes down to. There's no winning. There's no way that you can win in that situation. I'm fine with it. I just do the best that I can. But it's a case that, like, you can't win. You can't win. Some people don't want you to look at the QR code stuff. They want you to watch the show. Other people want you to do QR code. Don't worry about that. I'm watching the show anyway. You do the QR code. I can see the show. And it's all because people have got different circumstances, isn't it? Some people are, as we said, at work and they can't watch it, or they're driving and they can't watch it. And then some people are sat at home and they are watching it. So, you know, it's one of those. I think that there hopefully is a bit of understanding, right? I hope that even those people that get frustrated understand the situation at the moment. And as you said, it won't be around forever. I do think that they probably made a little mistake in the sense of they've started doing something that we asked for, and that was use the codes on Raw and SmackDown to tease something that happens away from the shows. We've said this before, right? The best way of doing it is to drop a QR code on Raw, and that QR code basically points us to your Twitch account, or it points us to the bump. And then we tune into the bump really for the QR code, right? And that's where we get the real meaty ones, yeah? Just like we did last week. They pointed us to the Twitch channel and we got an hour-long therapy session. Fantastic, yeah? Loved it. The problem is that not only are they doing that right now, but they're making the QR code so deep as well. So you're getting these really meaty, juicy QR codes on Raw. And then they're also going, oh, by the way, on Wednesday, you need to go to the WhatsApp as well. So they're kind of doing both now, where they're giving you these big meaty, and they're also pointing to a different place. So I would probably scale back how meaty the QR codes are on Raw and SmackDown, and I would definitely lean into the pointing, right? And make those the meaty ones. So, because that way then you wouldn't get as distracted during Raw and SmackDown. There wouldn't be as much to investigate. You could still put a little something in the source codes. You could put an image that could be decoded and traced. You could have the odd little hidden words. But this was 10 questions, 3 audio files, 2 video clips, a word puzzle that needed sorting out, a news article. Like, there was so much in this one. So much in this one. I mean, the amount of work that's gone into these is staggering. It really is. It's staggering. Each one is just so rich with content, you know? So it's like, it's incredible. It can't be sustainable. This thing has got to be coming to an end. It can't be sustainable, the amount of work that's gone into this. And they tweak it and change it as well. I mean, obviously, Jodie, they made sure to put her in the source codes, you know? So it's crazy, just crazy how they not only create it, but then go back and tweak and change them as well. So the work has been amazing. The campaign has been amazing. Really, the distraction, I think, is the only criticism that I've heard people have. The actual content of it has been so well received. I just hope that we find out what happened to that therapist. I hope that we get a little bit more on that, to be honest. But yeah, we think they'll arrive this weekend. And obviously, we'll do a video on that, actually. I'm thinking of doing 2 opinion videos. So we'll do one where we ask about what did you think about King and Queen of the Ring, the show. And then we'll do a separate one where we say, what did you think about the arrival of this new group, Wyatt 6, we think, yeah? What did you think about that? What was your favourite part? What was your least favourite part? You know, blah, 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 blah. Did you like the look of the costumes? Did you like the masks? Did you like the new song? Did you like the way they went about it? Like, there's so much to talk about. As long as they do debut this weekend, of course, then we'll have both of those up after King and Queen of the Ring. And we'll do some videos on the second channel for those. It's worth mentioning as well that my internet has been garbage. It's been so bad over the last 24 hours. I tried to get a video, Nightbird video up last night, and it took forever to upload. That's why it was late. I had it recorded after about 50 minutes. So 50 minutes after we ended the stream, I'd recorded the video. And then it didn't upload for another hour after that because it was so slow. And I tried to get an opinions video up on the second channel earlier today. That also took about an hour to upload. So there's a real problem. There is actually a problem in the area. I got a text message saying there is a problem in the area. But for some reason, streams seem to be okay. And I can't quite get my head around it. I don't know why. I just did the Wrestling Escape Pod stream, fully expecting it to keep crashing. Didn't crash once. And because that was fine, I thought this would be fine. But so far, this has been fine as well. So I don't know really what's happening there. But trying to upload videos, it's been a bit of a nightmare. So all I'll say is that when we're done with NXT tonight, don't be surprised if I will try and get an unseen done. But don't be surprised if it's super late, delayed. Because there's probably every chance that it's taken forever to upload. So yeah, that's been a bit of a struggle. Brony said, although I'm not a fan of the Nightbird campaign, I will admit the Twitch live stream was done very well. It was gripping and it kept me on the edge of my seat to see what would happen. David said, did you say you have a second channel? Yeah, we've got a second channel. It's where we put the polls for the shows. I try to put them over there so that they don't kind of get in the way on this channel. And whilst I was in Florida, it dawned on me. I mean, I've known for a long time I need to get content onto that second channel. But I could never quite figure out how do I carve it up? What do I use that for? What do I use this for? Like, what should be here? What should be there? And so it's called Wrestling Daze Clips, the second channel, because originally it was just going to be clips from the stream. So if there was a good conversation that we had or something we would chuck around, my plan was to chuck it on the second channel. It's never worked that way because I never get time to go back to the streams to pull those moments out. So it's never actually worked that way. So it dawned on me, I was like, well, I put the polls over there and I do a review after Raw and SmackDown and premium live events. They don't take long to do, about 20 minutes. Just me kind of talking about the results, giving my thoughts on things. I tried to make it as short and as concise as possible because I think there's already a lot of people that do really good like 2-hour breakdowns. I'm not looking for that. I'm looking for something that's like, here's what happens, here's the scores the community gave the matches, here's like, you know, my thoughts on it as well, all within like a 15-20 minute package. So I was like, well, that can go over there. We've already got the polls over there. I'll put the reviews over there. And then it dawned on me, I was like, well, if I'm going to give my opinions over there, doesn't it make sense that your opinions go over there? So all of a sudden, it's become a bit more of like a review opinion channel, whereas this one is more watch-alongs, Nightbird, Unseen, probably breaking news, I'd imagine, but we haven't actually had any big breaking news for a while. So, you know, that's what this channel is. That channel, review, opinions, and the polls. So yeah, it's called Wrestling Daze Clips, and I might change that. I don't know, I might change the name of it because it's not Clips, is it anymore? It never really was, but that was its intention, was because we do so much watch-alongs, long streams, I was going to pull the moments out and chuck it over there. So now I'm thinking Wrestling Daze Reviews, Wrestling Daze Opinions, maybe something along those lines. But I don't know. That's, you know, not important right now. But yeah, that's so we have got a couple of Nightbird videos up there, but they're your thoughts about Nightbirds. It's what you think about Nightbirds, how they would debut the group and all that kind of stuff. So if you've not been over there, there might be some videos that are interesting. I mean, what recently went up was my review of Raw from yesterday, and earlier today, the opinions video that you lot shared your opinions for Raw. And if you want to know how do I share my opinion, it's just on my Twitter account. My Twitter account is really, you know, the place. I use that now more than I've ever used it. Obviously, you see it in Unseen videos. You see it in Nightbird videos. Like, my Twitter account is the place really. So that is... I'm just going to keep continuing to use that, and that's what we use for the opinions as well. I put a post up saying feedback required. So if you don't follow me on Twitter, I mean, you don't have to follow me, but that is where we're doing a lot of the work on the channel. And I think since we started doing that at the start of the year, it's been a massive success, to be honest. I think it's been really well received because actually last year we weren't doing reviews and opinions, and obviously Nightbird wasn't a thing. We weren't even doing Unseen. We was trying to find, like, you know, what videos we should be doing. And there was, we obviously, at the end of last year, was doing LOL videos, if you remember. December is when we were dropping LOL videos. And I love those. They were just like looking at funny moments from the history of wrestling. They're only about 5 minutes long, if that. And it's just, each one is a different funny moment from the history of WWE or the history of wrestling. I love them. I love them. I've still got loads that I still need to upload, actually. And my plan last year was to do one a day, every day, for like throughout this year. But by the time we got to January, that's when we started doing Unseen videos, and they just really took off. They were just a big success, an instant kind of success. So we leaned into those, leaned into reviews, leaned into opinion videos, and here we are. So yeah, it's been a really good year this year so far. I think that it's been a year that people... I just think the wrestling this year has been really good as well, and that always helps. So, yeah, things are going good. But if you want to share your thoughts even more, then I would say Twitter is definitely a good place to do that with us so that we can get your comments and thoughts and you can be in those opinion videos. Right, I need to just make sure that we've got NXT set up because that's going to start in 10 minutes. And I don't want to miss that, of course. Let's come out of this. Actually, we might need to do a bit of a restart. Right, Daze, I'm not sure if you saw the comments on the Nightbird video, but it's very interesting. I didn't, but I mean, getting into comments, I'll tell you, is very, very difficult. I think that the comment section, I think that's a great place for people to share their thoughts, but I think if you want them to feature in future videos, I would say Twitter is the place to jot them down, send them over. I tried to go through my Twitter notifications. I really tried to get through as many as I possibly can. That would be the place to share thoughts. Days, I hope the Wyatt 6 or whatever are going to be called. Use the original Wyatt family theme, says James. That'd be fun. WrestleBuzz said, Days, would you prefer the whole Wyatt family appear at Saturday or just say Howdy and Rowan and then sprinkle the rest of the group? I'd bring them all in at the same time, but I'd bring them in at the same time because I think that there's no mystery that these people are coming in. I understand that by bringing them all in, you're kind of putting all your eggs into one basket kind of a thing, and people would rather maybe spread it out. But I just think there's so much to explore with them that I would just get going now. Further down the road, SummerSlam time, we're expecting Alexa anyway. So obviously we need to get the people in. We need to understand the dynamic of the group, and we can't really do that until everyone's here. We need to understand these characters. You could maybe make an argument for staggering it so that we can understand the characters a bit better because we won't have as many that we've been introduced to. But I think we know that this group are coming, and I think we know that it's a faction. And I don't think we need to necessarily wait, to be honest. I think bring them in and let's start learning about how this group works as a group. Because that's what I'm interested in. I'm interested in knowing how this group dynamic is going to be. And I really hope Triple H learns from Bloodline. Because Bloodline, the success of that was seeing Bloodline interact with each other. You know, Sammy's interactions with Solo were different to his interactions with Jimmy, were different to his interactions with Jay. And that really fueled a lot of the success of the Bloodline, because we know that Sammy and Jay hated each other. Well, Jay hated Sammy and Jimmy didn't. And Solo was kind of on the fence. Like, you had one that liked him, one that didn't, and one that didn't really say anything, but we think was just, didn't care. So all three of them had like a different reaction to Sammy. And so Sammy was kind of in the group, but he never knew if he was really accepted. And that's what led to the amazing honorary Uce moment, because we didn't know what Roman was going to do. Was Roman going to allow him to be a proper member? And it was all based on those relationships. So for me, I think that I'm quite interested in bringing the group in and then exploring those relationships. I don't want it to just be that Uncle Howdy talks all the time and the rest to just stand in the background. I want to see moments where Nikki is communicating with Dexter, and I want to see moments where, and Dexter might not be able to talk back, but he can draw, and so maybe he can communicate back that way. I want to see moments where Eric Rowan is, communicating with Dexter, communicating with Joe Gacy. What's Joe Gacy's relationship with Nikki Cross? I mean, I'm sure they'll all be on the same page at the start, but as they come up against different challenges, they may propose different approaches, and that could lead to some really interesting stories as we continue to explore the dynamics. So I'm quite eager to get them going and to start that work, basically, because whilst we're doing that, we need to be introduced to their characters. I can see the argument for bringing them in and staggering them, because, as you said, probably be a better way of introducing the characters, because there's not as many other people that will be around. It is going to be quite noisy at the start. But I just think, there's a lot of people to bring in, isn't there? It's a lot of people to bring in. And so that would mean, every few weeks you're introducing a new member. And we sort of know who these people are. So there's not going to be this big mystery of, oh my God, who's next? We know who they are. We know who the people are. And they've been teased in this code anyway. So I think for me, get them in. Let's start exploring the characters. Let's start exploring how these characters interact with each other. And we know that there's other things down the road anyway, because there's this mystery character that Bray created that we need to be introduced to. There's Alexa Bliss, who's coming back around SummerSlam. So we do have things that are coming anyway. So I don't feel that we need to stagger them. But that's just, again, my opinion. I think that it doesn't massively matter if you go the other way. You can still work the other way. But I just like the idea of digging into the group dynamic, because I think that's where the gold is going to be. I think that's why the Bloodline was so successful. And I think that's really what could help this group as well. Right, so we are about to go over to NXT. Wyatt 6 are probably going to target Randy, says Dro. Double or nothing. I think Alexa will be later, said Albert. Yeah, the streets are saying that she's going to be SummerSlam. So if this group come in at King and Queen of the Ring, probably don't need to do. I mean, you could have them arrive at King and Queen of the Ring, not do anything really till Clash at the Castle. Just introduce themselves and have segments on the show and really, get across who they are, what they're about. And maybe their first attack could be at Clash at the Castle. Perhaps Clash at the Castle is when they go after someone and make their presence felt. I wouldn't have a match for them at Clash at the Castle, but I would have them on the show. And then obviously you could build towards potentially a match being Money in the Bank. Maybe that's where Howdy has his first match. And then by the time we get into SummerSlam, that's when we bring in Alexa Bliss. So we will have established the group by the time Alexa's coming in at SummerSlam. So I think if you was to stagger that group out, you've got an opportunity to do it. I mean, maybe you could bring someone in at Clash. Maybe you could then bring someone in at Money in the Bank. It's not a problem to do that. But I think the real gold, the real meat of this group is going to be once they're all here and they start interacting, as we said. I would like to see them come in as like kidnap victims, but Bo sees them as family. I want it to be more psychological than supernatural, says Rob. I agree with that, but I'm not a fan of supernatural. People know this. We've spoke about this many times. I personally don't think there's a place for that in WWE. I'm not. I think the problem with it is that WWE operates in the real world, right? If you go and watch someone, you can interact with them. If you're in the crowd, you can interact with a wrestler. You know, you can touch them. They're physical. They're there. They're in front of you. They can grab your sign. They can rip it, right? They operate within our worlds. They operate within our realm, right? And so for me, I think if ever you're going to go into that supernatural, I think you should always leave it in that grey area. Because for me, it should be mysterious. It should be concerning. It should be, what have I just witnessed? But I think there is, for me, very much a line. And I think WWE have clearly crossed that line in the past. And, you know, it's not a rule that everyone agrees with. You know, you're going to get different opinions and different perspectives on that. You're going to get people say that, no, they love supernatural stuff. They want more of it. But then you're going to get people saying, like, not a fan of it, you know. I think part of the problem for me is that if you have a supernatural character, how are the non-supernatural characters meant to stand a chance against that person? If you've got supernatural abilities that others don't possess, the ability to heal magically, right? You can just heal whenever, or the ability to, I don't know, turn the lights off, and then when the lights come on, you're out of the ring, right? If you've got the ability to teleport, or the ability to just magically heal yourself, like, how's Gunther going to stand a chance against that? How's Ilya Dragunov going to stand a chance against that? And if they don't stand a chance against that, where's the drama going to come from? Because the drama of, you know, someone battling like Cody just has to win a championship. Well, if he had supernatural powers and he could just heal, you know, or if he's in a bad situation, he could just teleport. You know, that's when you start losing me. That's when it doesn't become clever, in my opinion. That's just a get out of jail free cards. That's just a bit, I think, uncreative, because it's just a bit sloppy. So yeah, I'm not a fan of it either. I like the psychological angle. I like this is a real person that's damaged. This is a real person that's got an alter ego, that has suffered trauma, you know? That's a conversation we've had many, many, many times before. And I know not everyone agrees, and it's absolutely fine. We've all got our own lines that we wouldn't like to see crossed. We've got our own parameters, you know? Our own expectations and whatever, so... I agree. I would also vote for it to be more psychological. I think it's more rewarding as well. Right, here we go. NXT. So, they're just showing what happened last week with that banging match, man, between Javon Evans and Oro Mensah. And Lash grabbing the chair, but she saw Trick Williams coming out, Trick Willie, and she dropped it. Right, Juan said, honestly, we should get rid of that supernatural aspect. I feel like we should get rid of some other stuff that's a little bit ridiculous, like never headbutting a Samoan, said Juan. Well, we won't go down that conversation this time because it's a conversation that traditionally has upset a few people, right? Just because people, I think, are very passionate about what they want from wrestling. People are very passionate that they want certain things from their wrestling and they don't like it when others are not in agreement, right? So we've learned from history that there's some areas which are, you got to be a little careful when you're treading, and this feels like it's one, actually. So, but yeah, you know, my opinion on that stuff has not changed over the years. I still feel exactly the same on it. But not everyone would agree. I am fully aware of that. Russell Landy said, Daze, Nikki debuting at Clash would be good. What with her being from Glasgow? Well, yeah, I would say Nikki just being at Clash would be good. I think if Nikki was to be introduced at King and Queen of the Ring as part of the group, and then she is like makes an appearance, I think Scotland will react, will respond. But if you wanted to delay hers for that reason and like have her come out on her own, you could do that. I just go back to what I said. I think the gold is in exploring the group dynamic, and you can kick that can down the road if you want to. But that's what I'm looking for. I'm looking to getting this group on screen and like let's get going. I'm not a very patient person, to be honest. Patience is not my virtue. I just want to get going. I just want to get stuck into the group and how do they interact, and is one of them a bit of a douche? Does one of them stir? You know, like how Mercy was always a bit of a douche. Ramblin' Rabbit was quite vulnerable, wasn't he? Ramblin' Rabbit was always quite lovely. And he was like, not cool, dude. And then, but you've got Mercy that was trying to eat Ramblin' Rabbit and whatever. And then you got Huskus that was just, you know, eating everything all the time. He was Huskus. I thought Ramblin' Rabbit was annoying, right? Ramblin' Rabbit is clearly not the best of the puppets. That is clearly Huskus, right? I thought that Ramblin' Rabbit was nice but annoying, and Huskus was flawed, but he was a lovely person. And when I say person, I mean pig, and when I say pig, I mean puppet. So that's what I'm saying. I love getting stuck into the dynamics. And that was good with the puppets as well. They had their own personalities. Right, Thea versus Fallon. We've got this match coming up. Opening the show. Can she get revenge? This is the Thea Hail Revenge Tour. So, Thea versus Fallon. Fallon coming out with a bit of attitude. So, Fallon making her way down. Thea Hail over the other side. Fallon going over to the corner. I hate myself for asking this, but how much do you like this selfish side of Fallon Henley? Again, if you are just joining us, not expecting a QR code personally, but we may get one. Right, bell has sounded. We've got Thea and Fallon pushing and shoving face to face at the moment as Thea works on the arm of Fallon. Although Fallon turned heel, she still feels a bit ice cold, said Brony. She got 2 big wins over Tiffany, but they didn't capitalize on her momentum. Are we watching NXT tonight? We are, yes. Or the one from the 14th? I'm confused. No, this is tonight's. I believe it was taped last week, but it's not been shown. Nice moonsault there by Thea as Fallon gets her shoulder up. In the corner goes Thea as Fallon charges over. Dragon screw by Fallon as Thea goes down. Oh, lovely kick that. Love that kick. So Fallon was launched in the air. Bangs like a back kick as she was landing. It looked really good. Fallon in control. I like her potential as a heel, said David. David said, I saw a clip yesterday where R-Truth called Bray Huskus the pig puppet's dad. Listen to your dad. Oh, I think that's an old clip, isn't it? When Huskus was like backstage. So is this an arm crank that she's got applied at the moment? Booker said he can't wait to get to Vegas. He can't wait to get to the Apex. Right now we got Fallon in control. As Thea rolls through. Lovely. Head scissor takedown there. Fallon goes over to the corner. Over against the ropes. Stuck underneath there by Thea. She rolls over the top. Fallon goes against the ropes. Arm drag. Lovely by Thea. And she bridges as well. Scream there by Thea as Thea goes against the ropes. Underneath that bottom rope. High risk there by Thea Hale. Her head wasn't a million miles from that commentary table. Thea and Fallon battling away on the outside. Thea gets pushed into that commentary table. She grabs Fallon as Fallon tries to get back into the ring. Thea goes down. Fallon slides under the bottom rope as Thea comes over. Fallon has a look underneath. Grabs a chair. She chucks the chair in, but Ridge grabs the chair. He's not going to allow Fallon to introduce that chair. Is he throwing people from ringside? You, and you out of there! So Chase, you are being removed, and it's not Ridge's fault. He took that chair away. She was going to use it. Fallon's like, see you later. Bye. Well, that's not fair. That's not fair, is it, to Chase you? Is she a cheerleader? Yeah, they've kind of leaned into that. I think she's a bit of a... Well, she's a student, but she's got a bit of that kind of cheerleader vibe for Chase University. Such good. The Vince puppet, yeah, that was brilliant. Brony, shout out to you. William said, I just don't get Thea as a wrestler. There are a lot of people do say that she is a bit too small. I like her energy. I like her excitement. I like enthusiasm. In-ring is okay. Promos are okay. But really, she's just this ball of energy, isn't she? She's just, you know. I don't know that she's going to be like a WrestleMania main eventer. Don't know that she's going to be the next Becky Lynch, but I could see her being someone that the crowd like. She just brings this positivity, and she's just this ball of energy. And who knows? Perhaps if she was to get to the main roster and lose a bit, the crowd would be like supporting her, wanting her to, and then she finally wins, and the crowd are like, you know, right behind her. I could see something like that happening. Maybe eventually getting her hands on like a women's world title, but I'm sure she'll fail many times on that journey. I think her size is a bit of a barrier for her. But we've seen lots of smaller wrestlers climb that mountain, obviously, in the past. Do we think Finn or Dom could help Liv win the title? That's an interesting thought, to be honest. I hadn't considered that. Maybe she is snuggling up to Finn and Dominic to get them to help her, and maybe that's where we do get it kind of revealed that she is now really in with those guys. They've been teasing it, and there's been lots of little teases about her and Dominic, and then obviously she arrived with Finn at the start of Raw. I like that thought. I think that's a good shout. I like that thought. If Kaden and Katana could be in WWE, then Mini-Me from Austin Powers can be, said Frank. I'm a Villain said, could we imagine if there was a Paul Levesque puppet? What would that be like? How would we take the mick out of Paul Levesque? I wonder what we would do with Petrovic. Like, take the mick out of him saying, "Are you ready?" And maybe he crotch chops all the time. That would be good. Yeah, you could, couldn't you? It's just, how could we take the mick out of him? But him just crotch chopping all the time. Oh yeah, that could be good. Yeah, I'd like the Triple A. Now I'm thinking about it, that'd be good, yeah. When does this go on the network? Well, it's on the network in the UK. That's how it's shown. In America, it is shown on USA Network. I don't know when it goes on Peacock. I don't know. Does anyone know in America? I don't have Peacock, so I don't know. But in the UK, it's actually shown on the network. It's not shown anywhere else. It used to be on TNT Sports, but they dropped it. Triton said you would have him all the time trying to spray water, but he just dribbles. That's good. The Triple H puppet ends every sentence with says Alexa Bliss Gamer. Very good. A big nose. Very good. Yeah. It's good, this. Excellent. Brony said, only time will tell if these NXT stars will be a success on the main roster. We all thought that Cross would be a WrestleMania main eventer when he was in NXT. You just never know what could happen. That's very true. That's very true. Bad creative can stall them. There might be some people that don't do like all that in NXT that go on to actually do some good stuff on the main roster as well. Like you just never know. Everyone's journey is obviously going to be different, isn't it? Headbutts mean that Thea and Fallon both go down. So Thea and Fallon fall to the floor. In Canada, NXT is shown on Sportsnet 360. Sportsnet. Right, we've got another match coming up later. Brinley taking on Jaida. I've got to think that Jaida's progressing there. Shot coming in there by Fallon and a shot coming in there by Thea. These two exchanging blows. We're already 15 minutes into NXT. Thea collides into Fallon. And again, nice low kick there by Thea. She goes against the ropes. Net breaker there by Thea. Coming up. Oh, planted. Lovely work. Thea shaking the ropes. Springboards off that bottom rope into a senton by Thea Hale. It's a kick out by Fallon Henley. So Booker T says that Thea Hale is a handful when she's focused. And she definitely seems focused at the moment. Fallon has got her hands full with Thea Hale here. Forearm strike. Fallon struggling a little bit in the corner as Thea looking for that suplex. Again, looking for that suplex. Can't quite get it. Thea goes down. Kick coming in. Obviously, we found out CW Network are planning on keeping NXT on a Tuesday. Oh, looking for a suit. Oh, no, into a Kimura. Trying for the Kimura. She's going for it, but good work there by Fallon. Oh, we're outside the ring. She's still trying for that Kimura, but she drives Thea into the barricades. And Thea has to break that Kimura attempt. Fallon down. Thea down. She screams out at Fallon. Fallon jumps back into the ring. Thea gets into the ring. Knee strike there by Fallon. Thea goes down. 1, 2, 3. It's a win for Fallon Henley. She wins the opening contest. So what did you think about that match? So let's get match score. What did you think about that match? So that Kimura looked like it was going to get cinched in. But Fallon Henley ensured that it didn't. Oh, Jasmine! Jasmine jumps in the ring. Jasmine is attacking. Love that kick. I saw Jasmine at that house show. She's good. I really like Jasmine. We just have not seen much from Jasmine. But she was good on the house show. Love that kick that she just threw him. Booker says, look at her. That should tell you the whole story. NXT Tag Team Champions. Okay, so earlier today we had the family. Tony with that Heritage Cup. Here's Axiom and Nathan Frazier. Axiom, is your name on here? They're making fun of A-Kids. I like them making fun of A-Kid. That's who Axiom was in NXT UK. So Lucha wants an opportunity at the tag titles. He says, what about me and Stacks? Okay, there we go. So Stacks and Lucha taking on Nathan and Axiom. And that's now. Let's go. Let's go. Come on, Lucha. The family. So Lucha and Stacks taking on Nathan and Axiom. Right. She's trying too hard to be a mafia girl. Oh, I love the Riz. I love the Riz. I think some of these characters, you know, they work better on the main roster. The thing, one of the things I think they teach them in NXT is to be as big as possible because, and sometimes it doesn't quite land in NXT because NXT is quite small. But the thing is that if you are doing a house show or WrestleMania or whatever, you've got to think about your mannerisms and your personality, like reaching the person at the very back of the stadium, you know. You want to get across that you are personifying this character. That's why, like, just little looks and whatever, they're not going to translate as well. They'll translate on the camera, but actually in front of a live crowds, you need this big personality. That's the point we were making about Thea, is I could see that her doing well on the main roster because she's got such a big personality. You know, she's screaming, she's running around, she's got the megaphone. That could come across as a bit annoying in NXT, but it would work and fit better, I think, on the main roster because she's got the personality to fit that arena, that stadium even. And maybe the same with the Riz. The Riz is kind of really turned up. But that will work on the main roster. It might seem a little out of place in NXT. It might seem that NXT, she doesn't need to go that far. But I think it's all to get them ready for the main roster. You got to be big with your mannerisms. And that is something they definitely teach them in NXT. Right, we are at commercial break. It's like driving a car with your instructor. Turn your head when you look in the mirror. Don't just glance your eyes, says Frank. Ah, yeah, very good. Very good. Yeah, they say that, don't they, when you take your test? Make sure that you are, like, looking and checking your mirrors because, as you say, you know, you want to make sure they know that you are doing it. If you just, like, have a little look, they might not see that you've looked. That's why you've got to make sure. Because checking your mirrors is obviously a big thing they look for. Constantly having a look around. What's the situation? I like that. That's good. That was a good example, that was. Frank, shout out to you. Daze, oh my god, you missed a QR code and it said check the effing super chats. Really? Are they watching? Damn. I knew it. I knew they watched this community. Carlin Dawn Allerton said, do you think the therapist could become a Paul Heyman role? Do I think the therapist could be a Paul Heyman role? Not really. I mean, I think that we don't know this therapist, and I don't know that she's someone that's signed to WWE permanently. I think Paul Heyman is one of the greatest talkers wrestling has ever seen. And I just don't know that we've got that with this woman. I don't know that she's like one of the greatest talkers we've ever seen. I don't know that she's a WWE superstar. She might have just been brought in for these kinds of vignettes. I mean, what I would say is that I could see her being a recurring character in the sense of she could be a character that we see again in the future, but I don't see her being the mouthpiece for this group. I don't see her being like part of this group even. I could see it being that. I could see it being that we probably wrap up this mystery before they debut. Actually, I mean, it might be that we get another big step tomorrow in regards to her. The one thing I hope is that I hope that's not it. I hope that's not the end of the story. I hope it's not the therapist has gone missing and that's it, we're done. Because there is a danger of that, you know? There's a danger that this is it and that there's nothing else that we're going to get regarding the therapist. And there's all these theories about, oh my God, did she go on to be the bride and all that kind of stuff. That could be it. She might have served her purpose. The way they got out of it is she's gone missing and we don't know what's happened to her and we might never find out. I think that's more likely than her being like the mouthpiece for this group. And Anna says, QR codes are not my bag. It does take away from the show. I understand others' enjoyment of it, but it's just not for me. That's fine. That's fine. It's fair. You're absolutely not alone. There are people that get in touch with me that say they don't like the QR codes. They find them a distraction. There's people that didn't like the Bray's last return. You know, they didn't like the story. They didn't like the pitch black match. They weren't into Uncle Howdy. There's lots of things that people just weren't feeling. I genuinely like what we've had so far. I think there's still a lot of questions, and I just hope we get answers to them. Some of the criticism of like Bray's creative in the past was that we didn't get answers to some of the stuff. You know, you can go back and rewatch Funhouse episodes and, you know, there'll be different questions that pop up that we never got answers to. And obviously, you know, when he came back, he sadly passes away. So, I mean, were we going to get some of the answers last time? Maybe. There's probably still a good chance, though, that we weren't going to get answers to everything, even with that last run. So if this is their opportunity to wrap this thing up, put a bow on this thing, finish this off, I hope we get some answers. That could be a really good video. I was just thinking that, like, what answers do you want from the history of Bray Wyatt's career? What answers are you looking for? That could be really interesting. We might do that video on Thursday, actually. Very good. You got me thinking. Got the juices going. James, thank you. Rob, thank you for... I can't believe they dropped a QR code saying check the effing super. That's mental. Here's Gallus. They look great, man, with their facial hair. So Gallus just saying a few words. We know that Joe Coffey is going to be in this triple threat match later. Joe Coffey versus Wesley versus Josh Briggs. Big Time said Daze AEW last night during Raw had 8 commercial breaks hyping Dynamite. I don't think it's going to help. Right. Who have we got? Is this... Oh, this is going to be Nathan and Axiom. Okay. QR code at NXT. Don't think so. I'm not expecting it. If we get it, bonus ball. Not expecting it. Okay, these two have made their way down. The NXT Tag Team Champions. Cora Jade, NXT's bad girl, Cora Jade, at a house show, came in the ring, grabbed the microphone, and warned Roxy that she's coming for the championship title belts. Halloween Havoc, are you ready? Says Al. Isn't she injured? What? Halloween Havoc, that's what she's targeting. Okay, this is for the NXT Tag Team Championship. These, there might be spoilers out there for this show. I'm sure there are. I haven't seen any spoilers, but... Lucha, Crucifino, but it's only just dawned on me. This is pre-recorded, so all of these NXT talent, they're at home, chilling. I think the reason why we recorded it is because a lot of the... production staff, they have gone over to Saudi Arabia. So that's why it ended up getting recorded, getting taped. But I don't think, obviously, the talent have. So they're enjoying a rare Tuesday off, aren't they? Wonder what they're doing. Might have popped to Universal. Could have gone to Disney, of course. Maybe just headed to the beach or... I could live in Florida. I've decided I could live in Florida. Lovely weather. It feels quite chilled. But then, you know, you're on vacation, aren't you, really? So it's going to feel chilled. I'd imagine if you live there, it's not as chilled. Obviously, you've got bills to worry about, food to worry about buying. You know, life gets in the way if you actually live there. But, yeah, it's a great place to go if you've never been. Right, we've got Nathan and we've got Stacks. Nice. Oh, kick to the midsection. So we got the Riz and we've got Tony on the outsides. They're watching as tag titles are on the line. Don't think we're going to see new tag champs. Shot to the midsection. Big boot. Oh, I love that. Stacks went for a big kick. Nathan moved out the way. Nice roll through. Back elbow there by Stacks. And down went Nathan. And goes for a pin, but only gets a 2 count. We know that we've got a big show coming up for NXT. That's going to be at the Apex in early June, I believe. About the 8th or so. That's going to be sick, man. Can't wait for that show. So exciting that they're doing it in the Apex as well. I mean, it won't mean anything if you don't watch UFC, but we've watched so many UFC shows that have took place in that venue. It's going to be so cool. Against the ropes goes Nathan. He's building up speed. Look at him go. And then, I'm not sure about that move, though. He goes really quickly, and then when he gets to the middle, he just runs past and just throws a little kick out to the side. He just throws like a little kick out to the side after all. That would be sick if it was a clothesline. That would be sick if it was a clothesline, because the quicker you go, the more impact that's going to be. But I don't know that throwing a little kick out to the side, it really matters how quick you go against the ropes. He should change that to a clothesline. Talking of clotheslines, clothesline to the outside by Stacks as Nathan is down. And getting some support from Tony and from the Riz. Let's go. Right, ever since Scripps got taken off TV because he's not re-signing, OTM have barely been on the shows. It doesn't seem like they've got any direction at this point. Who do we think's going to dethrone Trick? That's a good question. Who does the people think will dethrone Trick? I love Javon, but I don't know that they're gonna. I don't know that Javon will be the one. I feel like it'll be a heel that will do it. Is there a heel that has kind of shown themselves? I mean, it would feel a bit early for it to be someone like Obafemi, wouldn't it? It would seem a bit early for that. I would think that Dijak would stand a good chance, but he's obviously been called up, so it can't be him. Von Wagner has sadly been released, so it can't be him. Do we have like a monster heel that can go after? I mean, you got Tony, but Tony has got the Heritage Cup at the moment, so I don't think it'll be him. Oba is North American champion, so I don't think it'll be him. Don't think it'll be Josh Briggs. I mean, I don't think Trick's losing it anytime soon, is my honest opinion. Maybe by the time we've, 6 months down the road, perhaps Obafemi will be in a different position. I think if Oba loses that North American Championship, I don't know. I don't think we're going to wait too long to, get him to that NXT Championship. Could be Oba, but yeah, it's a good question because there's not really anyone that shows themselves at the moment. Axiom and Nathan versus Lucha and Stacks. This is for the NXT Tag Team titles. Right, 35 minutes into the show. We've already had one match with Fallon Henley progressing. Backstage interview with Gallus, and now we've got this tag match underway. NXT Battleground is June 9th at the UFC Apex in Enterprise, Nevada, says Al. OTM as Trick's Heat. It's hard to tell who will beat Trick at this stage, says Brony. I hope it'll be Omos, said Aubrey. William says Corbin. Tracy said, I live in Florida, Brooksville. Like the Rotunda Boy. Oh, we looked at that yesterday as to where that was. I was quite close to Brooksville because I was stopping in by Orlando and I went up to Citrus Springs. But to get to Citrus Springs, we kind of went up above Brooksville. And then I came back the same way, so I went down again. And then I went to Clearwater and Tampa, and that took me below Brooksville. So I just kept missing it. I either went under it or above it, and I just never quite went to it. If I was still there now, I would go there. Just to have a little, probably just drive through. Just have a little look, because that's where, Bray was from, Wyndham was from. And, of course, where Tracy's from as well. It's only 45 minutes north of Tampa. It's totally chill and it's a beautiful rural area and it's still close to the beach, Orlando and Tampa fun. It sounds like a brilliant place to be honest. A brilliant place to be. We ended up driving through some areas like neighborhoods in Orlando because there was a few days we were trying to get to Walmarts and Targets, whatever, and the traffic was quite bad at times. And so there's a few times we were like, do you know what? Looking at the sat nav, we were like, do you know what? We'll scrap those ones. We'll do them another day. Do a right here and we'll try and get back onto the 4 or whatever. And so we ended up having to go down some roads we didn't plan on going down. And it took us through like some of the actual neighborhoods and houses and homes in Orlando. It's really strange. Like, you not the kind of thing that tourists would be doing, But some beautiful houses. I mean, some massive, beautiful houses. And you look at it and it feels so American, that kind of Home Alone vibe. It was really, really cool just to have a little look, actually, as we were driving through. And, like, just these beautiful with, like, I don't know what you'd call them, balconies. Where you've got the rocking chair, awnings or whatever. Outside the front of the homes, these beautiful, like, they seem to be made of wood. A lot of wood. But just look amazing. So, yeah, every time I go to Orlando or go to Florida, I end up seeing something I've not seen before that's, like, mind-blowing. Just lovely. Obviously, a lot of people just go and do the parks, and that was me the first time. But now that I've done all of that, I kind of go back and have a look at a few other little bits. But we didn't plan on going around like the neighborhoods, but it was just amazing. But yeah, I'd like to have gone to Brooksville. I could have had a little nosy. Nice German suplex there by Axiom. I was born in Clearwater, said Chase. Oh, God, well, that's amazing. Went there for Hogan's beach shop. Beautiful place. Seems very expensive. Like, it feels like you've got to have some money to live in Clearwater. It feels like the rich and the famous live there, you know? Oh, lovely kick there by Axiom as Nathan goes for the cover. Lucha makes the save. Bray and Bo's dad, Mike Rotunda, grew up about 15 miles from me, said Rob. I was the one that used to work with his mom, Betty Rotunda. Rob, shout out to you. The Beach Kevin said, are there amusement parks in the UK? Yes, there are. And actually, do you know, Universal have submitted plans to build a big one. Apparently, it's going to be about the same size as Universal in America. It won't be the same size as Universal and Islands of Adventure, but it will be about the same size as just Universal Studios, like, on its own, which is amazing. I mean, we'll take that. And they've already bought the land. They've already got the plans. They've already met the locals. Like, this thing is progressing quite quick. It only first got mentioned in, like, December last year. But they are looking to build a Universal Studios in the UK. It's very, very exciting. I think 2030 is when they're looking to have that done by, if things all progress and, you know. But the fact they've bought the land is a big deal. Big superplex by Stax. So, yeah, what we've got at the moment is like Alton Towers is probably the big one. We've got another one called Drayton Manor, another one called Thorpe Park. Oh, hello. No quarter catch crew. Going after Tony. Oh, they'd been kidnapped. Riz, do something. Do something, Riz. Oh, Nathan pins Stax. But there's Stax. Oh, well, they've got a problem, haven't they, right now? It's a win for the champs. They retain, but no quarter catch crew are back. Oh, the Riz. She should have got some shots in, man, the Riz. Yeah, there was Damon Kemp. There was Miles Bourne. Charlie Dempsey. So, big brawl broke out. Get you... Oh, boom! Now we've got the Good Brothers. The OC, the Good Brothers. They attack Nathan, Frazier, and Axiom. Too sweet chance by the crowd. Got Magic Killer. Boom! Connects. Gallows and Anderson. They're coming for those tag titles. They could get them as well. They could get them as well. Okay, we're backstage with Robert Stone. He's talking to a girl I don't know. Here's Lexis King. You're stuck in a hole. Do you know what? He's a good talker, isn't he? Lexis King. I'm virtually undefeated. You are so annoying, says Ava. I don't know where you're going so fast. You've got a match tonight? You'll find out your opponent when you get in the ring. I love that by Ava. As soon as Lexis walks off, she goes... I think she likes him. I think the lady doth protest a bit too much. I think she likes him. Oh my god, Lexis King might be like The Rock's son-in-law. Let's go. Is this Obafemi? Okay, well, Obafemi's coming out. What's he doing? NXT North American Champion Obafemi. Imagine Trick Williams, Obafemi. Ah, that would be good, wouldn't it? Look at those guys in the crowd. Dancing away to Obafemi's entrance. Let's go. Right, Obafemi making his way down. Looks like we're moving to the triple threat. That looks like what we've got coming up next. Let's end the poll, shall we? And jot down the scores. So 59% said good, 26% said great, 11% said all-time, 2% said bad. So 98% good for that last match, 94% goods for the first match. So that's where we are so far. It's a win for Axiom and Nathan. But we've got match number 3 coming up. This is going to be Joe Coffey. Joe Coffey taking on Wesley. Taking on Josh Briggs. NXT Battleground. Lovely. Why is Ava not wrestling? Well, I can only put it down to the fact that they just don't think she's ready. I mean, it has been a long time. I wonder if part of it is not only was she not ready, but also they don't really have any creative for her. I wonder if it's a bit of a combination of those things. She has wrestled before. We've seen her wrestle. It was limited. Wesley is going to be kidnapped by No Quarter Catch Crew. It does feel a bit like Lexis over time seems to be getting better, but he does need to change that gear. He's got one set of gear in the clothes. Yeah, I think his presence and I think his promos have really grown as he's been in NXT. And he seems very comfortable now. Well, I'm still waiting for that banging match, to be honest. If we can start getting a few matches that really grab attention, that would massively help. But I think his presence on screen has really grown and settled. So we'll have to see. We'll have to see who he faces tonight. Is going to find a mystery opponent in the ring. I genuinely don't know who that is. Days, the main event for NXT with Dempsey and Stacks did not do well. It was 4-4-7 in that last segment. Yeah, they're in a rebuild, aren't they? I mean, I don't think this has been the strongest year for NXT so far. And they do feel now, especially, like they're in a bit of a rebuild. So I think as long as the ratings aren't going to be a real disaster. I mean, we've seen how much AEW have fallen. We haven't seen that decline from NXT. So I think, you know, if there's going to be a real slip on the show average, then obviously panic stations. But I think at the moment they're quite committed to trying to build up the next generation of stars, and obviously that's going to result in the ratings maybe not being the strongest, shall we say. SmackDown this Friday. I agree. Wesley is not small, said Sean. Ava has grown into her role as GM and is doing great, said James. Promos have definitely improved. She's looking a lot more confident now. I agree with that. I agree. I think she has grown into that role as well. I think her talking is so much more confident. Oh, here's Trick. Oh, NXT shop. What's this? Tricking ain't easy. Rep all day. There's Lexis. Every way. Roxanne. Oberfemi. I want to get one of those new cave bird shirts. I really like that one, but as people pointed out, it's not available yet. I like it though. Here's Chase U. How could you not see this coming? Ridge is clearly a liability. Riley Osborne going off. I stepped in. Look at Thea's face. She's so sad. You cost us the match last week. I gave you the benefit of the doubt. You don't even belong here. Riley Osborne against Ridge Holland. Right, here's Wesley making his way out. I don't see how Chase U is going to work on the main roster, says Mitchell. Chase U is being a mess, said Kian. Wrestling said Wesley could maybe be the one to beat Trick. Maybe. Maybe. I think another below 500 is a bad number. Luckily for NXT, they've never had that. Are you streaming SmackDown Live? It's on TNT Sport in the UK, but it's on tape delay in the US. Is it? Again? Oh, really? Oh, that happened last time? This sucks. Stop doing this. Because I can't do it at the normal time because it doesn't get shown in the UK. So, like in the UK, it'll get shown live, and then at the time that it's shown in America, it's not shown here. That's what happened last time with, I think, France. And it sucked. That sucked. My plan was to come back late. I remember saying, I might be back later. I might do another one later. We'll come back and I'll chat with my US friends. But the problem was I couldn't because it wasn't shown. And people said, why don't you just do the catch-up watch-along thing? But it's not going to work because you'll go to adverts at a different time that we go to adverts, and it's not going to be in sync. So it's going to be a little bit out, and it's just going to be messy. That's the worst. One of the worst streams I ever did was that. It was maybe the Puerto Rican SmackDown, when SmackDown was in Puerto Rico just before Backlash last year. I remember that the ad breaks were all out with what we had compared to America. I think actually in the UK, that SmackDown was on TV for an hour and a half. I don't know why. It was on for an hour and a half, not 2 hours, because there wasn't the ad breaks. So people were going to ad break in America and we weren't going. And the whole thing was out, and it was just a nightmare because there was people in the chat going, you're ahead of me. And I was like, okay, well, I can pause it. But then others are like, no, you're in line with me. And it was like, oh my God, that's all we were talking about. It was a mess. And I remember as well, I had connection issues. So every now and again, I'd get a circle on screen as it wasn't loading. And so if I was in sync with anyone, I was then out of sync with people. Oh, God. It's the worst stream I've ever done. It's the worst stream. Oh, there was another stream where I was not very well. And I didn't think I was going to make it through 10 minutes. And we ended up doing the whole thing. That was a bit rough. But I remember being ill for one stream, and I remember that one. They sucked. So it won't be as bad as that. But yeah, no, of course we'll be doing SmackDown. But that's going to suck for people, because if there's a QR codes, it's going to drop early. And America won't even get a chance to see it. Oh, it's a mess, isn't it? It's a mess. I don't know how you resolve it. I don't know how you fix it. You just need to get the whole world onto a streaming platform, don't you, really? We need to move away from these constraints. It needs to be that it just airs on streaming platform at the same time around the world. Right, Wesley is backing into a corner as Briggs comes over. Kick there by Wesley. Bounces up. Obviously, Ivar was originally in this. May 31st, they're in Tampa, Florida. So you can go there. June, you can go to Crystal River in Florida to see NXT. Kick coming in, Obafemi on commentary. I'm going to stay off social media until I watch SmackDown. Do you know what? If you can't catch it early, then yes, do. Because there'll be spoilers absolutely everywhere. Absolutely everywhere. It'll be dripping in spoilers. Heads to take over there as Coffey rolls out the ring. Steven, shout out to you. Brony said, do we see Wesley as a potential NXT champion? It's a bit difficult because I think there's an opportunity for it. But obviously he's been away a long time, and I feel like he needs to kind of get going again. So he needs to get like settled back in after being away for a long time and suffering a big injury. He's also one of those characters that's a little bit difficult to get behind. Is in that mold of a Ricochet, you know? It's kind of in that mold of like an Axiom. He's, you know, he's a high flyer. He's very agile. He's someone that I think you can't necessarily see him going on to big things on the main roster. And I don't mean that as a disrespect. I really like him and he seems like a lovely person. But it's just hard when you're a smaller wrestler, isn't it? I think if you're a smaller wrestler, you tend to lean more to your athleticism and your agility so that it helps you stand out. And it's a good way of getting success, to be honest. You know, if you're a smaller wrestler, then you can be more agile and you can do more of the flip stuff. But I don't know. I mean, that ain't the kind of person that tends to become like the face of the company, is it? You know, it's not necessarily the smaller wrestlers that we really strap the rocket to. So I think he could be NXT champ. He could go to the main roster, but I feel like there's going to be a glass ceiling there. Much like what Ricochet is experiencing. I mean, Ricochet is one of the best when it comes to that, and he just cannot get out the mid-card. Cannot get out the mid-card. And we find this with a lot of those kind of lucha stars, like your Sin Caras, your Kalistos, your Grand Metaliques, your Lince Dorados. You know, they can't get out of that either. So, could he be NXT champ? Sure. Sure. He's got a lovely personality. He seems like a lovely person. Very skillful in the ring. I like him. But I think, honestly, if we're looking long term, I don't know that he's going to be like a WrestleMania main eventer and whatnot. He's just a B+ player, isn't he? He's just a B+ player, and we all know that B+ players never make it to the main event of WrestleMania. If you look at Ray, he's a legend, says Kader. It's true. And also, if you look at Ray, when he got his push, you know, I mean, like, Ray obviously killed it in the cruiserweight division in WCW, came over, and to be honest, Ray was around at a time where this sort of athleticism was not really seen. You know, he was a trailblazer. There's loads of people that do that stuff now, but it wasn't as common when Ray was around. So I don't want to say it was easier for Ray. It was still very difficult, but where's all the other people that were doing that stuff? You know, Ray was one of the first in many ways to come in and bring that to mainstream WWE, right? This is what helped him stand out. He was doing stuff that just wasn't normally seen, right? You can go back and point out a few people like Michinoku. You can point, there's a few actually that you can go back to and point to that kind of had little moments, but no one with the consistency and the regular TV exposure that Ray was enjoying, right? And he had earned it. You know, he'd made a name for himself with the amazing matches. Obviously, he had in the Cruiserweight division in WCW. And, you know, he's a big star in Mexico. And so they could back him because he'd already built up his following and everything. And, you know, but even Ray, there was a glass ceiling. You know, he gets that Rumble win and he gets that title after Eddie has passed away. And we've spoke about it before, how Vince had to be convinced to go with Ray. Vince wasn't going to go with Ray. But they had to say, no, this is what the fans want. This is the direction to go in. You know, it's I don't want to say an exception to the rule, but we're talking about one of the first that was like really bringing that that style to WWE. You can go back to Mil Mascares, you know, you can go back to the history of Lucha. There's been luchas, but they're few and far between in WWE history. I mean, if you go back to like the golden era, I mean, who was doing that? You know, this is what helped Owen Hart stand out as the Blue Blazer. So I think that Ray was a bit of an exception. He was a bit of a trailblazer. You can't say he was the absolute first, but he was definitely bringing something that, you know, wasn't in wrestling. Wrestling now, though, you can see the influence of Eddie and Ray and a lot of those people. You know, AEW is full of that kind of style of wrestling. And obviously, you know, we see it in the likes of Wesley. We see it in the likes of Ricochet. Like, we see it in the likes of quite a few of those Cruiserweight Classic participants. So it's not as special anymore as it was. It's harder now. Edge of the ring, boom! Wesley gets planted. The problem is my favorite wrestler ever is Steve Austin, and I couldn't name 10 moves that he did. The gymnasts don't understand that, says Ramen Noodles. I don't think it's about understanding that, to be honest. I think it's more of a problem of they can't do that same style, because if you're a smaller guy and you just do, like, you know, a few moves, you're not going to stand out against the bigger guys. The bigger guys have got size. So that's, you know, their presentation, their look. That's what makes them stand out. They can get in the ring and they don't need to do a great deal because they are big, you know, they're stars. With the smaller guys, they need to do a bit more work because their look doesn't do it. You know, Wesley just could be a dude. I mean, he's got a good physique, but he could just be a dude from the crowd. Same with a lot of the smaller guys, you know. So they have to push themselves to stand out and get attention, because the look don't do it. The look don't get attention. So they have to find other ways of, how do I get people's attention? And so that tends to show itself. This is why a lot of the smaller guys tend to go into doing the gymnastics, the flips and all of that stuff, because that's how they get attention. That's how they stand out. So I don't think that it's so much that they don't get it or that they don't understand. It's more that they feel they have to push themselves in order to stand out. And, you know, pushing yourselves means being quicker, being more agile, having a bigger move set, so on, so on, so on. But that has now bred a whole generation of wrestling where you've got all these flips, and selling has been lost. I feel like the art of selling has unfortunately kind of fallen to the wayside. I would say the gymnastics aren't so much the problem. It's the fact that they need to sell the results of those gymnastics, because it can just be move, can't it? And there can be like a very little amount of selling. So it doesn't feel like, you know, I don't understand how a DDT used to put people away, but a reverse Rana, a poison Rana is not even a finishing move in this day and age. So I think it's fine to do the moves, but you've got to make sure you're selling the effects of them. Right now, we've got the other members of Gallus getting involved. They attack Josh Briggs, hurl him back into the ring. We are past the halfway point as Wesley goes up top. He lands on his feet. Goes up, again comes down, but collides into the head of Joe Coffey. The referee counts. Josh Briggs has definitely been beaten, but we don't know who got the pin because Coffey and Wesley were both pinning Briggs. So I'm guessing, is this going to lead to Wesley versus Joe Coffey? So a bit of confusion as to who's won this one. Joe Coffey and Wesley have been announced as co-winners. Obafemi is laughing his head off at that. Okay. Bit of a weird finish, but it carries the story on. We're backstage with Karmen, Petrovic, and with Natalya. If it wasn't for Shayna, Natalya would have won that underground match. We've just bonded. We've really bonded. There we go. Those two are in good spirits. Here's Brinley. Mallet Blade, Idris and Ophie. Look at Brinley just warming up. We have to stay positive. We're not coming out with you tonight. So Idris and Ophie and Malik Blade believe they've got bad luck. It's not about luck. It's about confidence. Well, there we go. Brinley, Reece, Jaida Parker. Looks like that match is going to be next. So we're done with the first hour of NXT. Daze, would you love Triple H to introduce a light heavyweight championship? It could help some of those smaller wrestlers. Definitely. Definitely. 100%. But if you're going to introduce it, it has to headline pay-per-views, premium live events. It has to be seen as... It could main event night 1 of WrestleMania. It could main event night 2. Like, it's got to be seen as... In boxing, in, like, you know, MMA, how you've got the heavyweight championship, but you've got the light heavyweight championship, you've got the middleweight championship, you've got the welterweight championship. You don't look down on those champions. It's not like the lightweight champion is less than the middleweight champion, you know? It's just a different division with different people battling for it. Yeah, 100%. 100%. I mean, I think that division would be... Imagine if Rey Mysterio was the light heavyweight champion and he was defending against Ricochet at King and Queen of the Ring. And say Ricochet was like a darker character now. Heel. And he was taking no prisoners. And it was going to be Ricochet versus Rey Mysterio. And maybe that match headlined. That was the match that closed the show. Perhaps Cody Logan just didn't feel like, you know, that would probably close the show in all fairness, but I just did the predictions on the Wrestling Escape Pods. It's the match I'm least excited for is Cody Logan. Okay, I really don't care. Like, Cody's winning, so I'm really not bothered. But in regards to like Ray and Ricochet, that could be really interesting. Or you could do Johnny Gargano against Ray, you know, Tommaso against Johnny for the light heavyweight. I mean, there's just so many really great matches that you could do. And I've said before, the people that battle for the light heavyweight, they should be free to battle for the undisputed one as well. They could go for anything. The limit just means that people like Brock can't go for the light heavyweight. People like Roman can't go for the light heavyweight. But as long as you can get down to that weight limit, you can go for light heavyweight. You know, and it could be really interesting. Could be really interesting. You could do some really fantastic matches. I've said before, you know, the idea that the lower weight is, you know, no one's going to be interested. It could not be further from the truth. If you go back to WCW, one of the real shining lights, one of the real good things they had was their cruiserweight division. People loved it. Look at TNA with their X division. You know, people love that. If you look at some of the smaller wrestlers we've had over the years, brilliant. You know, there's some brilliant wrestlers that could compete for that light heavyweight. You know, Brett, Sean, they might have made it. I'm not sure Daniel Bryan would have made it, definitely. As you said, your Ricochets, your Rey Mysterios, your Cedric Alexanders, you know, your Nevilles. You know, there's loads that could have competed for that title. And look at Floyd Mayweather, one of the biggest pay-per-view sellers of all time. He's not the biggest guy. He's not the biggest guy at all. Who's one of the biggest pay-per-view sellers of recent years? Conor McGregor. He's not a heavyweight. He was a lightweight. He was tiny. He's not big. Mayweather's not big. Canelo is not big. It's amazing how you've got a lot of these smaller guys, but look at their pay-per-view numbers. It's an absolute myth that you can't do this in wrestling. It's just a myth. It would work. I've no doubt about it. It's just you've got to do it right. And they tried to do it with the Cruiserweight Classic, and they could not have botched it more if they tried. It doesn't need its own show, right? It doesn't need even its own roster. It just needs to live on Raw and SmackDown. And anyone that's under the weight limit of, say, 205, they're eligible. They're allowed to compete for the title. That's it. Doesn't need its own division. Doesn't need any of this. Just have a champion, have challengers, and make sure it main events some premium live events. Make sure that you are, you know, really treating this as an equal to the World Heavyweight Championship. And yes, I would love it. Right, here's Ava with Obafemi. Let's end this poll. So it is going to be a triple threat. So it's a triple threat. Why didn't she just put them in a match? There's still time. We could have done that match next week. Sexy Red comes next week to NXT. Social media sensation Sexy Red. So Sexy Red will be on NXT next week. Okay, here's Brinley Reece. So we've had 3 matches tonight. Here's Brinley Reece. Actually don't know her music. It's a bit rubbish. Right, Brinley taking on Jaida Parker. I think Jaida should get this. I like Brinley, though. I like them both. Okay, let's change this over then. So we've had the triple threat. It was a win for Wes and Joe Coffey, and we just found out from Ava that they will both compete against Obafemi at NXT Battlegrounds. Here's Jaida Parker. All this talk brings a smile of WCW brings a smile to my face, says Nathan. I watched both WWF and WCW back in my high school days. On my locker was Neo stuff, a Brett for WWF and the Nitro Girls. Very good. The Monday Night Wars. Okay, so Jaida Parker in the ring. Brinley is bouncing around. I don't know how long they'll give these two. We've seen a bit of Jaida Parker. We haven't seen loads of Brinley Reece. Uppercut. Jaida Parker goes down. Jojo Siwa thinks she is the only influencer that puts out music. Clothesline, duck underneath. I remember seeing doing a toy hunt, and I saw an annual for JoJo Siwa, and I'm sure in the toy hunt, I'm like, who's this boomer? Years ago. And I remember a load of comments, you don't know who JoJo Siwa is? No, never heard of her. So that was the first time I heard of her, and because people were shocked that I'd never heard of her before, she then got on my radar, if you will. Only momentarily. I mean, I saw that she was like some kid actor or something. Wasn't she from a dancing show or something? I don't know what she does now. Over in the corner goes... Oh, Brinley. We did see her actually a few years ago on Miss TV. That was the last time I saw her. She was on Miss TV. Kick to the midsection. Sexy Red is going to bring up the numbers, said David. Is there any updates on that picture last night? Yes, the picture from last night was fake. It was not in there. So the person that tagged me in it came back and said that he got in touch with his friends, or he found out it was fake. Found where it was from as well, and it was from a TikTok of a guy cosplaying as Uncle Howdy. Just some random dude that was just on his TikTok cosplaying as Uncle Howdy. And it looks like someone took a screenshot of that and tried to make out that it was in the QR codes. This is why I'm really pleased that we do try and dig into things, you know. I couldn't not include it because it was obviously something that a couple of people had tagged me in. But I think what happens is that someone says this is in the QR code, someone else then sees it and then tells me about it, but at no point has anyone actually looked into it, if you know what I mean. So this is where you can get multiple people. Ringside News put a thing out saying that it was in there. Ringside News actually said it was in the QR code. Even they didn't attempt to see if it was actually in there or not. So yeah, that was crazy, man. Crazy. But all it's done is it's just made me go, well, I'm really pleased that we do double check. I'm really pleased that we didn't just buy into it and just run with it, right? And it's turned out to, you know, not be legit. But I think we made clear in the video that we weren't sure where it was and we needed to do more research and we wanted it to be found and everything. There was a positive that came out of it, though, and that was we found out, or Miguel found out, that it was, looking in the source code, it was only numbers 4, 7, 8, and 9, that if you answer those questions with a no, you got a video clip. And that was interesting to find out. We would not have found that out, I don't think, had it had not been for people looking for the image. The image just could not be found in the source codes. Couldn't be found. So, roll up there by Brinley. So, whilst people were looking, they managed to find that it was only 4, 7, 8, and 9. If you answer no, you get a video clip. And I think that's really interesting info, because you never know if you might have missed something else. Brinley gets the ropes. Shoulder tackle. Down goes Jaida. And again. She scoops up Jaida, plants her down. How long have we got? Where are we? We've got 44 minutes. Obviously, we might have a little overrun. Cartwheels over into a clothesline as Jaida goes down. 1, 2, and kick out there. Brinley getting a little frustrated. Not used to seeing her getting frustrated. She grabs Jaida. She's got her up on her shoulders. Elbows coming in by Jaida. She is looking to pick... Oh, planting Brinley down. Oh, she collides into Brinley. Goes for the cover. 2, 3. Job done. Tear drop hip check. Tear drop hip check. Daze, in my opinion, when they did the Cruiserweight and Evolution, it was like they did it as a token gesture and they didn't care about it. I agree. I completely agree. Okay, it is a victory for Jaida. Here's Fallon. Jasmine. Can't hear it. They're really quiet. I missed some of that. They were really quiet. Oh, Wendy, another... Ah, we get to see a bit more now. She's up. Morning. Slippers are on. Ah, is that it? Is that it? Ah. Wendy on her way back. She's been doing NXT Level Up. I wonder if she'll return at Battleground. I wonder if that's where they'll bring her back. Don't know what this... So is this for Battleground? Not Wendy Chu, says Mitchell. Yes, Mitchell. Wendy Chu. She's coming for you. Any update on time for the app? No. Not that I've seen. I still need to set that. I still need to set that up. Daze, you twice agreed with something I said. Are you feeling okay? Says James. Well, I just think, James, you've really started to click. I think you've come into your own. I think now, do you know what's happened, James? I think now the football season is over, I think you can shift a bit more focus onto wrestling, and the takes that you are coming out with now, killing it, mate. Killing it. Killing it. I am going to worry about what you're going to say when the Euros are on, right? But I think just that one extra TV that you've just got turned off as you're watching NXT, because we all know James Chadwick is watching about 50 wrestling shows at the same time and trying to keep up with what's happening with Man United. Well, now that the season has come to an end, kind of, we still got the FA Cup fight. I think that one TV's gone off, and I think now... You're dialed in. You're dialed in. You're coming in with some really good takes. So I would say it's definitely worth listening to James Chadwick until the Euros start. And then once the Euros start, God only knows what he'll come out with. God only knows what we're going to get. But for now, killing it. Killing it. What do you think about Rashford being left out, James? Please respond. I was surprised. England announced their team for the Euros. Now, they've got to take 26 people to Germany for the European Championships. And they've announced 33. And there's a couple of big name players that aren't there. Quite a surprise. I've got USA winning in the Euros, said Mitchell. I think they'll do well. George said James has gone into God mode. Yeah, it's clicked. It's clipped. Ben Bailey said it's coming home. Oh, I hope so, Ben. I hope so. But when you're a boomer like me, you've been... The hope has killed me like 1,000,000 times by now. Do you know what I mean? Like, I've got PTSD. I don't know how many tournaments I've seen England compete at in my life. And I'm pretty sure every single one I've gone in thinking they could do this. I don't remember ever seeing them go to a tournament where I was like, no, they don't stand a chance. Everyone, I'm like, you know, if luck's on our side, we could do it this time. And every single time my heart gets broken. I have never in my life seen England win any meaningful tournament. In fact, I think the only tournament I've ever seen them win was, didn't they win Le Tournoi in like 1998? That was like the warm-up tournament for a World Cup. There was only like 4 teams in it. It was just a little warm-up thing, and I think England ended up winning that. I'm amazed, actually, that we don't talk about winning that more. It never gets mentioned, because it didn't mean anything. And that's the only thing I've seen England win. So, this year. Good, he doesn't deserve to go, said James. Yeah. I wish we'd took Mitchell, though. We haven't took Mitchell in defence, and I'm a bit worried about the left-back position, but... In Southgate, we trust, eh? Right, what next? We've got a video package for Roxanne. No one's going to take this from me. As good as these girls are, I'm better. The WWE universe that love to post their useless opinions about me. Oh, she's so good in this role. I know we keep saying it, but... There we go. There we go. Do we know who's facing her? Wow. I've spoke to Nick. I've spoke to Adam. It's all good to go. Next week, Roxanne finds out who she faces at Battleground. But that very much teases it's going to be someone from the main roster. Oh, is it going to be? Someone from the main roster? What's Booker on about, man? What the hell's Zambuca? Isn't that a drink? Lexis King, we don't know who he's facing. He's facing some mystery opponents. Lexis King in the ring. The King has been on a hot streak lately. Who's it gonna be? He's bragging, so it's got to be someone that's gonna prove to be a challenge. It's Robert Stone that's coming out, but I don't think he's gonna be the opponent. Has he got a new client? He points. Who is it? Dante Chen. Why are people so excited? I don't understand. Dante Chen. A stalwart of NXT Level Up. The crowd were really into it. There was a big reaction then. I feel like I'm on the outside of something here. Like, the crowd are like, yeah. And he did this thing where it was like, oh, ah. And the crowd are like, yeah. And I'm like, and they're chanting his name really loud. Like, have I missed something? I mean, I haven't been watching NXT Level Up, so I mean, maybe he's just been killing it on NXT Level Up. I don't know. They love him, don't they? They love him. Well, let's see. Let's see what he's got. That was strange, man. Let's go, Dante. What's this guy been doing on NXT Level Up, man? What's he been doing? They absolutely love him. So Dante Chen taking on Lexis King. Dante back in the corner. Charges over. Tries to collide into Lexis, but Lexis grabs him. Dante up top. Ah, drop kick, man. Dante jumped off and he tried to do something, but he ended up getting drop kicked by Lexis. Shoulder up. Wow, they just know him from Level Up, said K. Is that what it is? A lot of this crowd, I think, do go on a regular basis. So a lot of this crowd are the same people that watch NXT Level Up. So I don't know what he's been doing for NXT Level Up, but he has got himself over. And this crowd absolutely love him, man. Dante. Well, looks like Mr. Stone has got himself a new client. God, when his music hit, it was like a main roster star was coming. Ah, big chop, man. Did you hear that from Lexis? Big chop. He had his boot in the face of Dante Chen. Dante Chen is from Singapore, says Kiam. Mitchell said, I've watched Level Up for the past few weeks. I've no idea who he is. Sean says, Dante was Lexis's first opponent in NXT. Well, I don't remember him getting this reaction. So it must have been since then and now. I don't remember him getting this reaction when Lexis King first arrived. Oh, another kick coming in. Catches and goes for a big clothesline. Lexis goes down. It would be a shocking win if Dante was to win said draw. What happened to his old client, said Corey. Von Wagner was released. Ended up getting released, unfortunately. He's not around anymore. Chop coming back there by... that must be so hard. Imagine that. Being part of WWE, being in NXT, being on TV, doing house shows, working at the Performance Center, putting in that work, trying to, you know, get to that main route, and then you just let go. You'd just be so lost, wouldn't you? Big inverted atomic drop. Against the ropes goes Dante Chen. Everyone looks at like the main roster and WrestleMania and Randy and Cena and Undertaker, and everyone wants to be that, but only a very, very tiny percentage of people get to do that, you know? Dante Chen, though. I mean, nothing against Dante Chen. There's no shade being thrown. I'm just stunned at the reaction he received. Yeah, man. They really love him. Good for him. Booker said, I just don't think this is going to be enough to beat the talented Lexis King. King on his feet, charging over, going against the ropes around the back. Boom! Collides into Dante. Dante. Again, Lexis King grabbing Dante. Mr. Stone on the edge of the ring. He jumps back down. Could that distraction allow Dante? Oh, misses. Kick comes in there by Lexis. Dante goes down. I like his selling. I like Dante's selling. Oh, this might be the beginning of the end, though. Oh, no. Inside cradle. 1, 2, 3. Dante gets it. Oh! Dante wins. Wow! Wow! That was great. Do you know what? You watch NXT and want to see something. And Dante Chen coming back to this amazing reaction, crowd totally behind him. And then for them to pull the trigger and give him the victory. Wow. Together we're unstoppable, said Lola. Let's keep the dancing back here tonight. I'm a Latina. I like to have fun too. Ah, trick. Trick Williams. Whoop that trick. Let's go. Lexis King doesn't mind getting other talent over, said Wild One. Trick. Mitchell said stop dancing. What food are you eating, said Simulation 54. I'm not eating anything. Not eating anything. I'll probably try and grab some after the stream, but to be honest, I want to try and get through my Twitter notifications and see if I can get an unseen done. I am a little bit behind on that. I can see that Kevin Owens is trending as well. Kevin Owens at a petting zoo. Is that why he's trending? What is he trending? Goldberg squash Kevin Owens has got to be one of the dumbest things WWE booked with the world title. Don't know why Kevin Owens is trending, but he is trending. It's one of those that you click on it and you don't quite know the reason as to why someone's trending. He was at a Taylor Swift concert recently. But yeah, don't know. I can't see any common factor there. So yeah, I'll as soon as we're done with NXT and we've got about half an hour left, I'll probably try and grab something quick and then try and get a bit of an unseen together. There'll be Nightbird stuff in there. I've got a few bits for Nightbirds, but I don't think there's anything massive. I don't think I've been tagged in anything massive regarding Nightbird. I think we did a really good job actually of boxing off a lot of stuff last night. So there's a few little thoughts, little theories, a few other little bits and bobs, but nothing that I've seen that's made me go, oh my god, we desperately need to do a video on that, you know. Dante is the man to dethrone Trick, said, well, after that reaction, yeah. Jason said, I really do think it's around Florence Nightingale. She was inspired by Plato, and Nightingale is a nightbird, and nurses call each other sister, so I believe it's around Sister Abigail. Okay. I mean, I don't know how Florence Nightingale would fit into this, to be honest. I mean, I can see that you're saying those connections, but I don't know quite how that's going to show itself. I don't know. Yeah, interesting. I can see the connections. I mean, she was inspired by Plato. a nightingale is a night bird. I mean, I don't know. A nightingale is a bird. I don't know. I don't know. I kind of feel like I can see a few bits there, but I can't see how she would be this big reveal, you know? Like, it's Florence Nightingale. What does that mean? What does that mean? We both have different reactions to Man United keep winning. Yours is, mine is anger. Yeah, to be honest, I don't really care. I would have liked Arsenal to have got it, but I don't really care about Man City winning it because they're so far behind Man United. So far behind that they can just keep winning for the next 5 years and it doesn't really bother me. They're getting closer and I don't want them to beat the amount of titles Man United have won, but I don't know. I'm not bothered by it. I'm more focused on Man United fixing their problems, you know. Here's Trick. Whoop that Trick. What has he got to say? So Trick going over, grabbing a microphone. Yo, 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 yo. Gotta get serious. Straight to business. We're running out of time. I took it on the chin last week. Trick Williams knows how that feels, and I wouldn't wish that on anyone being attacked backstage. No, Amdar, I didn't attack you. If Trick Williams had attacked you, you would have been unconscious. I don't attack from behind, said Trick Williams. So, Metaphor are coming out. Yeah, he's... You ain't tricking us. So there's no Noam, but we got Jakara, we've got Oro, we've got Lash. So Oro. Trick didn't attack no one, so Lash is standing up for him. Trick has been through this. Are you shaking this man's dreads? Okay, so who's coming out now? Is this Gallus? It's a busy segment, this, isn't it? We've had Metaphor come out. Now we've got Gallus coming out. You're probably wondering why. So, yeah, Joe Coffey's come out. You're probably thinking, why is the guy that's just earned a shot at the North American title coming out? You're about to find out why. Oh. Attack from behind, Trick. Attack from behind by Gallus. So Gallus are attacking Trick Williams. Jakara loves it. Oro loves it. Lash doesn't love it. The Young OG! The Young OG! Let's go, man. Let's go, man. Let's go, man. Where do I get my Young OG merch? Now there's just too many, man. The Young OG can't deal with Gallus on his own. Oof. Young OG is down. Trick trying to come back, though. That's allowed Trick to fire in some shots. I wonder if we get Javon and Trick as a team. Shots coming in by Gallus. Kick to the side of the head, and Trick gets planted. So Gallus standing tall. Javon Evans is down on the outside of the ring. Trick down in the ring. Jakara loving it. So is Joe Coffey? I don't know what he's going for. Any belt he can get his hands on. Right, women's tag match coming up. We've got Karmen and we've got Natalya. Javon Evans was helping. Karmen said, this past Sunday I went to Route 66 Raceway in Illinois. Well, I hope you had a good time. Are they going to get us the time for the WhatsApp? Yeah, I don't know. I haven't seen anything. Daze, we read that one. Did you see the picture of The Rock in his new role? I haven't seen an image of it, no. I know that he's been putting in the work as he's training for this like new MMA film, so I would imagine he's looking big. I'd imagine he's looking real big, but I haven't seen a picture of it yet, no. Gallus just feel like a faction that's got a ceiling in NXT, said Big Time. I just can't imagine them surviving on the main roster and not coming out to crickets. Is Gallus just attacking everyone, says Mitchell. Well, yeah, I mean, this seems to be the moment for them, doesn't it? It was a big return last week. Now they seem to be going for it, like getting involved in the North American title, getting involved, going after Trick. Like, I think it's, I don't want to say now or never, but this feels like a big push for Gallus now. So it's going to be an interesting period. A good friend of mine's dog that he had for 16 years got put down due to health deteriorating and losing mobility. Vets recommended it as his pain was getting worse. Well, 16 years is a hell of a good life, actually, for a dog. Depends the breed, but I think German Shepherds, for example, I think it's like 9 to 12, 10 to 12, 9 to 12. We've got a German Shepherd that's 11. So, you know, looking at her now as being in that kind of final stage of life, really, for our dog as well. So it's unfortunate, really unfortunate that dogs just don't live as long as we would like them to. 16 though, that's a hell of a life. Gallus would work with Drew, said Wrestle with Andy. Right, we've got the scores for that Dante, Chen, Lexis, King thing. Let's end that, shall we? Mitchell said, I tagged you in a post about his new look. If you look at the post, it shows his new look. I think you already liked it. Yeah, I saw the post. I didn't get a chance to actually look at the image, but I know it relates to the film. So I can tell that it's going to be him jacked. But no, I've not had a chance to look at that yet. Okay, good 98 for that Dante Chen Lexis King match. So, main event match coming up next. It's going to be Natalya and Karmen taking on... So, Natalya and Karmen taking on Shayna and Lola. Not the strongest main event, to be honest, but this feud has been rumbling along for a little while. Right. I feel like the QR codes are Dead Man himself. The hooded figure looks like death, says Beric. I had a lightning bug for 12 years, said William. Al said NXT Battleground, June 9th at the Apex. It's going to be good. James said it's simple. It's not rocket science. Put Gallus with Drew. Al said, I wish that Triple H could hire Mina Shakia, is it? I like her. She's dreamy. I do like NXT's Julia, says Al. I don't know who's that Mina Shirakawa. I don't know who that is. Right, we are at commercial break. We've got about 20 minutes to go. So main event, and then we're done for this week. Sadly, none of the matches really got like out of, say, second gear. We've got 94% good, 98% good, 96% good, 96% good, 98% good. We haven't been able to get into that great kind of range. And, you know, there's no... Oh, here's Dante Chen. Oh, look at his chest. Here's Ava. I wanted to personally congratulate you. Thank you for the opportunity. It was all Mr. Stone that got you that opportunity. So Mr. Stone was like, I know you're always looking for fresh young talent. Well, that was him. I can't wait to go to NXT next week, y'all. I might RKO somebody. So Sexy Reds is going to be there next week. Also, we find out who Roxanne Perez is going to be facing at Battlegrounds. Okay, we've got Michin against Tatum Paxley. That's going to be next week. We got Kalani Jordan. Kalani Jordan against Ren Sinclair. That's going to be awesome. That'll be a really fun match. We've also got Trick Williams and Javon Evans teaming up. We did wonder if they would. I mean, it's not the hardest thing to predict in the world. They're going to be teaming up to take on Gallus next week. So Trick and the young OG taking on Gallus. So here we go then. Main event time. Shayna Baszler making her way out. So Shayna and Lola. Lola coming out with Shayna taking on Natalya and Karmen. Is it E-N-A-N? Don't know. Right, Trick and Javon could be future NXT Tag Champs, said Dro. Big Time said, when Gallus is getting TV time in multiple segments, we know that the NXT roster is depleted. One of my biggest fears after the call-ups have come to fruition. William said, you can literally cut it to 1,000,000 pieces and all the pieces will grow into a hammerhead worm. Sexy Red songs don't fit WWE. All she raps about is her, says Horror King Mayhem. James said, Big Time seriously complaining about people getting TV time. Okay, here's Natalya and Karmen. Are those new shades that she's wearing? Is Karmen. Carmen's got gear very similar to Natalya. She goes over, she puts those shades on Vic Joseph. I finally got some style and class, and he looks at Booker, and Booker goes, "You suck." You just ruined a great moment. Booker said a great moment for who? Vic Joseph said for me. Well, there we go. We are underway then with our main event. Who is Sexy Red? Sami Zayn. Sean said QR code time. A. Jobson said, my dog is 8 at the moment. A Cairn Terrier. She looks like Toto. Kick to the back there by Lola. Right. Okay, Shayna back in the corner, throwing in some shots to the midsection. They looked a little weak, to be honest, by Shayna. They look better by Lola. So, quick tags as they've got Natalya in the corner and they're working on the midsection. Here's Lola. She throws in a kick and again. They're just constantly tagging in, doing their work. Kick there by Natalya. She gets under the legs of Shayna, tries to make the tag to Karmen, but she can't quite make it. Jumps over, makes that tag. Karmen throws a shot, gets into the ring, charges over. Nail Shayna, and again, Shayna goes down. Shayna back up on her feet. Kick coming in there by Karmen, and again. Oh, that was good. Karmen to the head. Shayna went down. Shayna hurls Karmen into the corner. Kick coming in there by Karmen. Karmen going against the rope. Shayna down. Karmen Petrovic all over Shayna Baszler. Brutal. I've got an image in my head of a sexy Sami Zayn. Yeah. Literally just him in like a thong. Nothing but a thong. Just like that. Just like that. I can see that as well. Right, we're going to commercial break. Do you think England will win the 2020 World Cup? No, I don't feel confident at all. Not after how disastrous the one-day 50 over World Cup went. I mean, the one-day World Cup was just horrific. We didn't even get out the group. So it feels a bit like things are broke at the moment. So no, I don't have any confidence. I'd like to think they've fixed a few things, but I don't know. Things just don't seem great, do they, at the moment? How many QR codes have they been, said James? We've had 23 different QR codes tonight. And none of them led to Uncle Howdy. Kian said the cameraman is getting that extra bang for his, but with those camera angles. James said, I thought you was about to say mankini. Well, if that's what you're picturing, James, God bless you. It's not what I was picturing. But very similar, aren't they, in a way? Very similar. Do you know, when you bought the Borat film on DVD, day one, you got a mankini. It was green, and the bit that goes in front of your dong, that had a little patch that said Borat written on it. So when you bought the Borat movie, when it came out first day, we had a load of mankinis that we would hand out for free with the film. I took one home, of course. I don't know where it is now. The 2020 team is better than the one day team, says Burn It Down. That could be the case, but there's also a lot of players that cross over, so they just don't seem to be, or at least they weren't in great form. So I can't say I'm going into it with much confidence. Wicked Dust said, does anyone else find it hilarious that Natalya refers to herself as the GOAT when she's had one title reign that lasted less than a month? I think she calls herself the boat. which is very similar to a goat, but floats. Maybe goats float, I don't know. Sammy singing, bringing sexy back. Yep, I've got that in my mind as well. William says, what? A state exam at the end of the year and you don't get paid only if they pass? What? Talk about riding the coattails of her family's name. Well, she's won more matches than any other woman in WWE history. You know, just saying. Clothesline there by Shayna. She's been in for a long time as well. Karmen trying to get over and make that tag. So Shayna in control. We're about to go into the overrun. Do you think Roxanne's next opponent will be Julia? No. No. But she's just picked up an injury, hasn't she? Karmen trying to make the tag to Natalya. Sonny, shout out to you. Said, this is the official Discord server. Come in and make some new friends. We've got many channels to talk in. Sonny doing a fantastic job of trying to make that Discord like a really fun, friendly place for people. And if you want to talk about Nightbird or talk about NXT or talk about anything in particular, I would imagine there is a room, there is a space for any of that conversation. And if not, I'm sure that Sonny will make it. There's Lola dancing away. Shayna did tell her to leave those dance moves back in the locker room, but she didn't. She hurls Karmen into the corner. Lola charges in, kick to the midsection. Tag made. In comes Shayna. Lola steps to the outsides. So here's Shayna. She's looking to deliver a suplex to Karmen. Bit of noise coming from the crowds. 1, 2, kick out there by Karmen. Natalya on the outsides. I really want to see what Julia has to offer, said Wicked Dust. William said, Daze, read Mitchell's comments. Is what you want to learn what I'm talking about. It's what you want to learn that I'm talking about. I think there might be a few too many comments for me to have to go through to figure out what you're talking about. Kick coming in there by Karmen. She goes over. She makes the tag. In comes Natalya. Clothesline. Down goes Lola. Down goes Shayna. Shot coming in. Natalya all over Lola. Lola pushing Natalya. Kick to the midsection. Looking for a suplex. Gets it. Gets it. Shayna back in the ring. German suplex there by Natalya. She goes over. She grabs Lola. Reversal. Natalya into the corner. Moves out the way. She picks up Lola. Lola throws Natalya over. Oh, discus lariat by Natalya. Good. I like that selling. Feeling the effects of that. Lola twerking again. Tracy said, have we figured out the time for WhatsApp? No. 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 Petrovic climbing up. Crossbody. Down goes Lola. 2. Kick out. Julia is dreamy, said Al. It doesn't matter what she does. I do like Natty's tag partner, said Wicked Dust. Oh, chop block there by Shayna. Chop block, roll up there by Lola. Oh, we're into the overrun. Down goes Lola. Shayna coming in behind us. Natalya was going for that sharpshooter. Ah, spinning back fist. 1, 2. Karmen makes the save. Man, that was a big spinning back fist there by Lola. Out the ring goes Karmen. Shayna shouting at Lola, telling her to finish the job. Lola gets Natalya. Lola makes the tag. No. Doesn't make the tag. Natalya charging over. Oh my god, that's such a good kick. So good. There's the hips. Jiggle, jiggle. Stepping through. Looks like she's going to try and put the sharpshooter on, but no joy. No. Natalya. She puts the sharpshooter on. Turns over. Lola Vice. Middle of the ring. Ah! Sharpshooter's in. Sharpshooter's in. Oh, Shayna's going to break it up, man. Oh, from the back. From the back. Oh, Karmen from the heavens. Gets caught. Kirifuda clutch. No. To the outside goes Shayna. This match has been all right. It's been pretty fun. Been some hard-hitting moments in this match. Let's get a poll set up for when we need it, because it's got to be coming towards the end now. Match score. Tag. In comes Karmen. Karmen goes against the ropes. Clothesline. Boom. 1, 2, 3. Karmen pins Lola Vice. And it is a victory for Natalya and Karmen. Well, there we go. It's a win for the faces. That was not bad, you know. I don't know if it's managed to get into the great territory, but it was a fun main event. Maybe a touch slow at the start, but it got somewhere. It got somewhere. Now, Shayna looking very frustrated with Lola. Shayna going over. Grabs Lola. Helps her up. Oh, Lola kicks Shayna. Yeah, take that. Take that. She dropped her and then twerked over her fallen body. Oh, but Shayna gets up, man. Shayna gets up. Ah, she's gonna kill her. She's gonna kill her. Oh, yeah, man. Look, Lola's down in the middle of the ring. Referees, look at all the men. Look at all the men. All the men in the back are like, Lola's in trouble. Guys, come on. Red alert. Red alert. Lola's in trouble. I think there's literally dudes back there that are having, like, sat in catering, having a bit of chicken, whatever. The siren goes off. That's the Lola's in trouble alert. Here's Ava. I want to see this fight. Battlegrounds. Shayna versus Lola. NXT Underground at Battlegrounds at the Apex. Shayna Baszler going to that UFC facility makes so much sense. In fact, both of these going up against each other makes a lot of sense. They've both got MMA backgrounds, and we're doing it at the Apex. NXT Underground at the Apex. Woo! Do you know? Got somewhere at the end, didn't it? I love that bit where she dropped her, and then in like a horror film, you see Shayna rising up in the background. That was really good. That was really good. So Shayna, Lola, NXT Underground at Battlegrounds. Shayna should have said, I'll see you in the Octagon. Said it. That would have been good as well, yeah. That would have been good. It was a good match, said Terry. No QR code, said Mystical Wolf. No QR codes. Is Battlegrounds in the Octagon? No, it won't be in the Octagon. An oiled Dana White. Why does he have to be oiled? Wrestle with Andy. What's that about? What's that about? Why do you want to oil up Dana White? Illinois was the city and state I had to go to for a drag race I attended at the Route 66 Raceway, said Karmen Live. Well, I hope you had fun. Dang, so we don't know what time the thing is tomorrow. No, haven't seen anything. Unless someone's found the answer. I've obviously been doing the watch along for about 3 hours, so I haven't been through my accounts. So at the moment, nope, we don't know. We just don't know. Yodonga's guest commentator, let's go. Alan said, I would pay millions to see Daze twerk again. Well, I've no plans to take this stream down. So it will be there forever and a day for you to enjoy and have on you could loop it if you so desired, you know. If you look underneath the what you call Make Out Wednesday, I think 5/20/22 could be the time. Could be the time, but we don't know that it's the time. So it does make it very difficult to set up a live stream and tell people. So there's a theory it's 5:22. I think there's a chance that it's 4. That's what time it was for the Twitch stream as well. So yeah, that's the kind of ballpark that we're looking at. That's at the moment. I'm going to set the stream up to start at about 3, which would be 8 UK time, with the thought that it could start at 4. If it doesn't start at 4, then that 5:22 would be the next target. If it hasn't started by then I just don't know. I don't know. But we'll have to see. I mean, if no one's asked Rob the question, I'll ask Rob the question and see if I get an answer. I've got to think that someone's asked Rob Fee the question, though, at some point. It's the one question everyone wants to know. What time is this thing? So I've got to think Rob's been asked that. Are you still interested in toy hunts and figures, says Corbin. Yeah, we put a toy hunt up on... when was it? Last Thursday? So there was one that went up a week ago. Totally agree. Bo said, no, thanks, Daze. Fair play. Stephen, shout out to you. But I give NXT tonight 8 out of 10. Well, I'm going to run away in a second and I'll put that poll up. I'm also going to try and grab some food and work on an unseen. So plenty of things for me to be getting on with. But we'll just get a few more final thoughts. Before we run away. I give NXT tonight an 8, said Karmen Live. Lola's twerk was the highlight of the night, said Kader. Dro gives it a 9. John gives it a 9. Chris gives it a 9. Wicked Dust said, was your trip to Florida only for a toy hunt? That was the purpose in going, yeah. It was, I mean, literally I spent the 2 weeks running in and out of Walmarts, running in and out of Targets, running in and out of shopping malls. Towards the end of my time, running in and out of toy shops. So, I mean, I've got so much footage. I could do 6-7 toy hunts comfortably. I've put one up already. So, I'm hoping that I can try and get another one done for Sunday. But honestly, it really depends how the next couple of days are going to go. If I can get some free time over the next couple of days, then brilliant. But obviously, we've got plans to do a stream tomorrow. And we don't know quite when that time's going to be, so that could be a bit of a problem. But we'll see. I mean, if I can get one up for Sunday, brilliant. If not, then I'll just have to try and get it up whenever. Timothy, shout out to you. Big Time said, Ricky Stark's Huck Wardlow contracts are nearing expiration. If I'm WWE, I'm looking to bolster that roster once they move to CW. Yeah. I'm sure that they are. I don't know if all of them are, but I'm sure there's some that are on the radar that are in AEW. NXT was a 7, and revealing who I'm against it feels good, said Nathan. Gamer Ryan said, can someone answer my question? Why does it have to be underground? Why can't it be a regular match? It can be a regular match. I just think that NXT Underground is kind of seen as being a little bit more brutal. It's kind of seen as being a little bit more extreme, if you will. They're really trying to make it out that it's a more vicious match. So it's not just a regular match. We're going to do it NXT Underground. And so we haven't done many of those, although, you know, we are starting to see it kind of crop up every now and again now, a little bit more frequently. But I think the fact that they've both got that MMA backgrounds, and the fact that there's going to be no ring ropes, you're going to have people around the ring. I think that, you know, it's kind of a bit of an acknowledgement that we're going to be at the Apex as well. If we weren't in the UFC Apex facility, maybe they wouldn't do it as NXT Underground and it would just be a regular match. Not sure. But I could understand them wanting to do an NXT Underground match at the UFC Apex, because that's where we're going to be. We're going to be in the UFC's Performance Center. We're going to be in the UFC's equivalent of the Performance Center, and they've got a room that they put shows in. And we've seen a lot of shows from there, actually. It's going to be interesting. Is there going to be a Florida haul video? I don't even know what that is, really. Is that where I just look at the stuff that I bought? I don't have any plans to do that. I'll just kind of do the videos as I kind of come across them. So, yeah, I don't know. I got asked about, like, why don't you show, like the stuff that you bought from the different places? But the truth is, there's a lot of times I go in and I film and then I'm out again, because if it's early in the trip, I don't know what else I'm going to see. So I didn't want to just be buying everything I saw when, like, you know, there could be something really special that's more towards the end of the holiday. So I've picked up bits and bobs here and there, but I don't know. We'll have to see as we kind of go along with it. I just really don't have a focus on those toy hunts, because Nightbird is taking up so much time at the moment. I feel like I've come back from, like, you know, being in Florida with all this content, kind of expecting. I mean, when that holiday was booked, obviously I didn't know Nightbird would be on, so I thought this would be like the quiet time of the year. Traditionally, you come out of WrestleMania and you go into a bit of a trough, you know, big build for WrestleMania, and then afterwards it's a bit of a quiet period. It's just not been that way this time with Nightbirds. So I've got this content now, and it's like, I don't need it. I could have just stayed here and we could have just spoke about Nightbirds, and, you know, there's so much going on in wrestling at the moment. It's just, yeah, I didn't need to go. But I didn't know that months and months and months and months and months and months and months ago, when it was all booked, obviously. So I've kind of got this content, but I really just don't need it right now. So I'll get it up as and when I can, but it's just not a focus at the moment, to be honest with you. It's not a focus. Right, with that being said, let's wrap this up so I can go away and start working on Unseen. And if I can get an answer to that question that everyone wants an answer to, then I will try and see if we can find that. As I said, someone might have already asked the question, and we might have an answer out there. I just haven't seen one yet. So there we go. We are done. Thanks for joining us. I know it was not maybe the most engaging of NXTs. There's not like big stories going on at the moment, but we are building towards that battleground. And I thought the end of the show was good. And it's always great to see Javon Evans. And so there was definitely some bits here. So it was far from a disaster. But I think we've seen maybe more compelling episodes of NXT, and I'm sure we'll get back to that in the near future. So thanks a lot for joining us. Appreciate the support as always. I will see you again next time. Bye for now.